only by being selfless, can one become a Buddha and go to the Elysium world. The path is very clear, the question is, how can we be unselfish and selfless? I would like to ask, have you ever met an unselfish and selfless person in your limited stage of life? The most obvious sign of unselfishness is having nothing, and the most obvious sign of selflessness is the absence of trouble, anxiety, worry, and fear. May I ask, have you ever seen such a person who has nothing but also has no trouble, anxiety, worry, or fear? It is without doubt that there is a 99% chance that you haven't seen one. Have you ever seen a fish perched in a tree? Have you ever seen a sheep grazing in the water? Of course, you have never seen it, because fish cannot survive out of water, and sheep cannot survive in water at all. Therefore, if you want to see unselfish and selfless people in ordinary society, it is like seeing fish in the trees and sheep grazing in the water. It is basically impossible. So, where can you meet someone who is unselfish and selfless? The answer is, in the Xiufeng-style communist life program. When communism is mentioned, many people instinctively scoff at it. The reason is very simple: they don't know what communism is, don't understand communism at all, have never lived with the procedures of communism, and have never seen communism with their own eyes. Their knowledge and understanding of communism are just prejudiced concepts that are based on hearsay. As the saying goes, facts speak louder than words. If you want to understand communism accurately and clearly, then go to experience and feel it in the second home that is based on Xiufeng-style communism, the life that was created by Life Genuine. The second home that was established by Life Genuine began on April 18, 2009. Although it has experienced a series of hardships, it still has a tenacious vitality and still exists on this earth. Why is it that it has been devastated many times and still exists? The reason is that a group of people who have personally participated in the construction of the second home and lived in it understand that Xiufeng-style communism is the highest state of life. It is like a person climbing up Mount Everest, standing on the commanding heights of the earth and looking down at the mountains and peaks of the world. It is also like a person who has tasted succulent peaches, fairy peaches, and can no longer be interested in other peaches, and they will no longer be interested in other production and life modes until the day they die. Except for the Xiufeng-style communist life, any other production and life modes cannot arouse their interest, so Xiufeng-style communism will continue to exist and eventually become the ultimate life mode for human beings. Hark back to the subject: how can a person be unselfish and selfless and climb to the highest state of life? Undoubtedly, fish on trees and sheep in water not only cannot climb to the highest state of life, but this will also lead to their deaths. Similarly, people in secular society cannot climb to the highest state of life. The highest state of secular society is nothing more than becoming a billionaire, becoming a president, or winning a Nobel Prize to go down in history. But the life realm of billionaires, presidents, and celebrities is thousands of miles away from the state of being unselfish and selfless, and it is less possible for ordinary people to climb to this highest state of life. Readers may have doubts or objections to the above conclusions. There is a way to remove your doubts and objections, and that is to find someone other than Christ Jesus and Buddha Shakyamuni to prove where your doubts and objections stand. Can you find someone who is unselfish and selfless enough to have nothing but who can live a carefree life? Can't find it? However, if you look for it in Xiufeng-style communism, you will find that most members are unselfish, selfless, and have nothing, but also live happily, joyously, freely, and blessedly. How do they do it? Why can't you find an unselfish and selfless person in the secular program, but find that most members are unselfish and selfless in the Xiufeng-style communist life? There is only one answer, that is, the soil of this life is completely different, or the procedures of this life are completely different. In the worldly program of life, if you are unselfish, you simply cannot exist. In the Xiufeng-style communist life program, if you are selfish, there is no place for you at all. It can be exaggerated to say that if an angel enters the procedure of secular life, he is very likely to become a devil. If a devil enters the procedure of Xiufeng-style communism, it is very likely that he will become an angel. The reason is very simple, and the sages have known it for a long time. It's like entering a room full of fragrant orchids and getting used to the sweet smell, staying in a fish market and getting used to the stink. The conclusion is that if you want to climb to the highest state of life, you must put your heart and soul into the Xiafeng-style communist life program. There is no other way to accomplish this. You will have everything when you keep life a genuine values. Xiafeng. July 6, 2008. Share a warm family with many brothers, sisters, and relatives. Our community has everything that the traditional family has plus everything that the traditional family could never have. Share many talented, handsome, beautiful, passionate, civilized, and elegant friends, lovers, and confidants. You might just yell, "Wow, life is so beautiful," you could not get enough of this even if you lived a cat's 9 lives. Enjoy the second home, now new oasis for life, of the paradisiacal life genuine, where everything is as the 1,000-year world and you will be happier than in your wildest dreams. Share your joy with many lovely, lively, humorous, entertaining, cheerful, and pure-hearted people. Enjoy having caring, considerate, unpaid angel nurses when you are sick in the ideal environment to enable you to recover as quickly as possible and to regenerate unlimited vitality. Spend your final years in peace with many caring brothers and sisters looking after all your needs and being able to leave this world happily without regrets and pass on to your next existence cheerfully. Recover easily from any natural or man-made disaster, and when you are frustrated and desperate about your future, you will take a quick turn for the better, enter a new field, get a new life, rekindle hope, and radiate youthful vitality. Enjoy spiritual, soulful, and material abundance and no longer suffer from anxiety, melancholy, or fear, or worry about your future. Lead an especially colorful and interesting life of playing the zither to welcome the sunrise, blowing the flute to send off the sunset, waking in the middle of night and thinking of art, and walking along winding paths through secluded gorges. Have someone guide you into a meditation room to practice detachment from mortal life. Meditate so as to obtain supreme, authentic wisdom with 64 magical powers, reach the 5th level of meditation, and experience a wonderful reality. Receive oral teachings from the saints of Yin and Yang and the 4 heavenly kings, and being able to understand the teachings of Christ and Buddha quickly and becoming a master of the generation after digesting their teachings thoroughly. Understand everything in the 1,000-year world. Your consciousness will soon resonate with the consciousness of the celestial beings who live there, and when the time is right, you will pass directly there to enjoy fully the infinite beauty of life. Travel around the most magnificent scenery in the universe, taste magical melons and fruits, learn to fly through the sky, and always remain beautiful and refreshed for up to 30,000 years in the 10,000-year world. Go to the Elysium Celestial Islands continent to create anything out of nothing and transform your own celestial island planet the size of Earth, at will for billions of years where you will be the king to do whatever you want and to furthermore share infinite and endless fun with hundreds of millions of super celestial beings. What else do you want? Is this made up by Xiafeng? Is he trying to deceive you? The celestial being Lao Tzu gave us this answer. When one of high morality hears Tao, the truth, they try hard to live in accordance with it. When one of medium morality hears Tao, they seem to be aware but yet unaware of it. When one of low morality hears Tao, they burst into laughter. If the ignorant masses do not laugh at it, it is not Tao. Do you not believe me? Okay, then you should forget Chanyuan values, try to find Tao your own way, and see what you will have in the end. Symbols of the Life Chanyuan era. Xiafeng. First, let us understand these 8 characteristics of the era in which we are living. The current era of humanity is one of disorder. It is an era of nationalities, political parties, religions, races, countries, and other interest groups fighting with each other, both overtly and covertly. It is an era of people mostly pursuing material comfort but ultimately falling apart. It is an era in which the winners make the rules while the losers suffer, with all power flowing from the barrels of guns. It is an era of countries being controlled by separatist regimes through the force of arms. It is an era that is locked in a seesaw struggle between truth, goodness, and beauty, against falsity, evil, and ugliness, with the latter gaining the upper hand. It is an era in which people are confused with gloomy hearts and souls, decadent spirits, anxious minds, and unable to see the trend of future developments. In one sentence, it is an era under Satan's reign. The new Life-Genuine era can be characterized by the following 8 major qualities. The disappearance of countries. The disappearance of religions. The disappearance of political parties. The disappearance of families. The disappearance of war, crime, hunger, and disease. A shift from the pursuit of material comfort to that of spiritual satisfaction. The production and life of people everywhere will be steered by saints and managed by sages. Knowledge of the greatest Creator will take root in society, and we will live in a harmonious and orderly manner with nature and other advanced lives in the universe. Beyond those, there are these 8 additional features. Deserts will become oases. The orders of, "no one will pocket anything found on the ground and doors are not bolted at night," will become normal. People will trust, respect, and love each other mutually as members of a single family. The weather will usually be favorable, with distinct seasons and natural calamities such as earthquakes and storms being greatly reduced. The evil practice of judging human dignity by money, power, and fame will be reversed. The forms of love between men and women will diversify. The lifespans of people will be extended to about half a millennium. The manner and time of one's death will be basically era will be created by the academicians of Life-Genuine. In this new era, the human population may decline sharply while countless extinct species reappear. The world, including the air, water, and land, will purify and restore to its pre-human state. This era will belong to those who have devoted painstaking efforts throughout their lives to revering nature, life, the greatest Creator, and humanity. The Life-Genuine era will last for a millennium, after which time people will enter into another era. People with spiritual senses will certainly perceive the magnitude of this era and will strive for it. People without them will find this statement ridiculous, ignorant, nonsensical, and even whimsical. The arrival of the Life-Genuine era will not be altered by anyone's will but is the inevitable evolution of life. It is the law and order of Tao. We will enter into this era if we follow Tao, otherwise we will be abandoned by it. We say with certainty that future academicians of Life-Genuine will be brilliant and capable. The All-Rounder's Sorrow. Xiefeng. December 3, 2021. There are some people in the human race who are all-rounders. They understand everything and can do everything. They are geniuses. But for 99.9% of people, to become an all-rounder, it takes time and energy to learn, to practice, and to put their skills into practice. The problem is that life is short, but principles and skills are unlimited. It is not easy to become an all-rounder in this limited period of life. People's talents are just like their looks. People are different. It is impossible to make yourself look like everyone else. Only by giving total commitment to your strengths will be the best choice to go forward on the journey of life. The sad thing is that to survive in human society, most people are not using their strengths, but passively doing jobs that they are not good at, and their true nature cannot flourish, or the law of survival in society forces them to engage in jobs they don't like, to engage in a variety of different jobs, to become an all-rounder. When becoming an all-rounder, many do not realize that it takes much time and energy to study and become an apprentice. As a result, most people lack a true professional skill. They can do many things but are not proficient in any. They know everything, but don't understand anything thoroughly, and they cannot become the best in the field of work that they are engaged in. Also, they have to give up the opportunity to enjoy life because of forcing themselves to study and put their skills into practice. In the end, when they find that they are accomplishing nothing and are just struggling to survive, they will hate themselves for being incompetent and will lose confidence in themselves and will lose their longing for a better future. Are we doing what we like? Did we choose it ourselves? Is it what you are good at? Is it your favorite? For most people, the answer is definitely no. We are like a drop of water, being propelled forward by the tide of society. we can't choose by ourselves, whether we like it or not. To survive, we have to do this or that. This is not only a sorrow for individuals, but also a sorrow for mankind. Of course, the social system is different, everyone's degree of freedom is different, the range of work they can choose is also different, and the opportunities to show the abilities that they are good at are also different, but overall, most people are always passive and helpless. They work not to live, but primarily to survive. From my personal life experience, I am engaged in the work I like and am good at only when I live in the second home, and the rest of the time, I am forced to do this or that by the tide of the times and the situation of reality. I am a sad all-rounder. I have been engaged in more than 20 kinds of jobs, such as shepherd, farmer, fitter, clerical assistant, accountant, statistician, teacher, power generation worker, office director, translator, sales clerk, purchaser, salesman, manager, secretary, laundryman, cleaner, receptionist, cook, civil servant in government departments, businessman, small boss, etc. I have lived abroad for more than 20 years, and I run around for survival, all depending on myself. I have to do all the trivial things by myself, even fixing leaking water pipes, the roof, the blocking of sewers, going out for purchasing, etc. And what is the result? Now it can be said that I am good at nothing, and nothing I did has reached a first-class level. How do you turn a tragic life into a comedy? How can everyone engage in a job that they are good at and love for the rest of their lives? How do you let everyone have leisure time to entertain and play, to enjoy the beauty of life and the joy of life? While going to the heaven and hell, I finally found the answer, which is to copy the life pattern of the 1,000-year world of heaven. On this earth, there is a place called the second home, where everyone chooses a job that they like and are good at, and they don't need to worry about anything else. They don't need to think about supporting the elderly and raising children, let alone cooking and washing after meals, because there is a particular person who will worry about this. And after finishing what you are doing every day, the rest of your time is a time of entertainment and play. This is what can be called a human life, and it is also the most perfect way of life in the world. Do you want life to be simple, easy, full of joy, without worries and pains, and become a comedy? Then go to the second home. The biggest internal friction in life is in the relationship between husband and wife. Xiefeng. February 3, 2023. For generations, humans have praised and advocated for maintaining the relationship between husband and wife, and there is even a saying in the folks, better to knock down 10 temples than wreck one marriage. Traditional society placed great importance on marriage and family, and moralists spent their lives praising and defending them. Sociologists have written countless articles on how to maintain the relationship between husband and wife, and governments not only provide legal protection for the maintenance of marriage and family as a cornerstone of social stability, but also crack down on speech and actions that undermine marriage and family. I have never doubted that there are very happy marriages in the world, just as I have never doubted that ironclad orchids can grow on trees. I also long for the kind of relationship between husband and wife where they have known each other since childhood and grow old together, loving each other for a lifetime and staying together for generations. However, the practical experience and reality of human society for thousands of years tell us that the relationship between husband and wife is the most time-consuming and energy-consuming relationship in all human relationships, and one of the main factors that prevents people from fully realizing their potential. Among all productive forces, the greatest creator is the first productive force, that is, the regenerative capacity of natural resources. Without the greatest creator, the first productive force, no matter how capable humans are, it is a dead end. For example, how about if there is no rain? The second one is human. Humans are the second productive force. When a person's production capacity is consumed on matters completely unrelated to creation, such as maintaining relationships between people, it is the greatest repression and destruction of productivity. All men and women who have been married for more than 10 years can use a calculator to calculate where our time and energy have been consumed in our lifetime. Have they been consumed in innovation and creation? In a day of 24 hours, how much time do we spend on innovation and creation? Not much. We spend a lot of time and energy on maintaining the relationship between husband and wife, especially in the spiritual and emotional realms, and we are firmly held hostage by the relationship between husband and wife. First of all, after getting married, half of a person's personal freedom is lost. What creative and innovative ability can a person who has lost their freedom have? Slaves do not have the ability to innovate and create. If their thoughts and bodies are not free, where does their ability to innovate and create come from? If their property is not free either, where is the material condition to think about innovation and creation? Just maintaining basic expenditures such as food, clothing, shelter, transportation, and aging and sickness already exhausts a person. For married people, do you have the right to dispose of your own income? Do you have the right to talk to people of the opposite sex about ideas at night? Do you have the right to eat whatever you want? Do you have the right to go wherever you want during the holidays? If you suddenly get inspiration, do you have the right to turn on the lights and open your computer to type on the keyboard at midnight? Do you have the right to travel alone? Do you have the right to chat and drink tea with your classmates of the opposite sex frequently? Do you dare not take care of your husband's or wife's emotions? When your husband or wife is in a bad mood, do you dare to say the word no? When your husband or wife is sick, do you dare not take care of them? And so on. These are all tangible and calculable drawbacks, but the compromises and concessions required in daily trivial matters also consume a significant amount of time and energy. Therefore, the amount of time and energy a person spends maintaining a marital relationship is enormous, and it is the biggest internal conflict in a person's life. Traditional beliefs and lifestyles hold that, upon growing up, every male should take a wife and every female should take a husband, is natural and right. Due to the constraints of thinking, people fail to realize that life can be better without marriage. Who has ever heard that everyone in heaven is married? No. Jesus Christ clearly tells us, in heaven, they neither marry, nor are given in marriage. Will life really be better if men and women do not marry? Of course, it cannot be said that not marrying is 10,000 times better than getting married, but it can at least be said that it can be 10 times better. We have experimented on this earth for more than 10 years, and it is a 100% successful experience. Therefore, men and women, if you do not want to get married, then go to the second home created by life genuine. Divorced men and women, if you do not want to remarry, then go to the second home created by life genuine. Life in the second home is definitely 10 times better than life after marriage. Perhaps you have a series of questions, such as who will do the housework? Can we have children? Is there freedom in male-female relationships? What if we get sick or old? I want to tell you that I have thought about all your questions, and there is a perfect program to solve them. Stop getting married. Do not waste the majority of your life's time and energy on maintaining special relationships, and don't consume your wisdom and energy chasing after money and status. Go to the second home, and you will be moved to tears in the end. The codes of behavior for citizens in the kingdom of the greatest creator. Xiefeng. Full of gratitude. Only with gratitude can people obtain real pleasure, and sublime the quality of his life. Only with gratitude can people be optimistic and take things philosophically, and scale the barriers of jealousy, greed, anger, fury, complaint, and resentment, and cross the one-plank bridge built along the cliff safely and smoothly to reach the ideal realm. Only with gratitude can one fully enjoy the pleasure, happiness, freedom and blessing in the kingdom of the greatest creator. Without gratitude, one will always live a life of high alert and face dangers everywhere. Be grateful for everything that the greatest creator has endowed you. Be grateful for living in the kingdom of the greatest creator, be grateful for everything that the people in the home have done for you, be grateful for the teachings and guidance offered by Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, the celestial Lao Tzu, the Prophet Muhammad, and generations of sages and saints. Be grateful, and the road ahead will be flat and smooth, with endless groves of flowers blooming profusely and flocks of birds twittering and flitting in the sky. Be ungrateful, and the road ahead will be shrouded with dense dark clouds, and overgrown with thistles and thorns, and so full of twists and turns that it will be extremely difficult for you to trudge through. Completely unselfish. People who are completely unselfish are like glittering and translucent crystals and the endlessly expansive sky with drifting white clouds, and are like the murmuring limpid streams and blooming gorgeous flowers. They are symbols of beauty and incarnations of love, the messenger of kindness and angels of sincerity. The heavenly kingdom is theirs and the freedom is theirs. Once a person harbors selfish desires, he will be like a fruit or melon with a rotten core. The source of happiness has been blocked, and he will be deliberately provocative and make trouble out of nothing and cause distress to others. He will stir riot and unrest among the harmonious group, stinking like a pool of feces and buzzing around like a blowfly. Be always diligent and amicable. Diligence makes people rich and refined, laziness makes people poor and hideous. Gentleness makes people magnanimous, peaceful and cozy, malice makes people short-sighted and narrow-minded. The hard-working people are like the bees that fly among seas of flowers to gather honey, the lazy people are like fleas and lice that suck blood from animals. Gentleness is like fresh breeze, malice is like a sharp dagger that is thrusted randomly. Citizens living in the kingdom of the greatest kingdom should be always diligent and amicable. Any laziness and malice will eventually forfeit one's freedom and happiness, will block the bridge to happiness, and will cause the loss of the Garden of Eden. Cherish the time and opportunity that you enjoy. If you cherish it, you will not complain. If you cherish it, you will take good care of everything that you have. If you cherish it, you will be prudent in action and word so that you will not cause misery and hurt to others. If you cherish it, you will gradually become colorful auspicious light that bring good luck to other people. If you cherish it, you will take advantage of the opportunity that arises to accumulate merits and virtue instead of complaining and finding fault with everything, and becoming a grueling and disgusting burden to the group. Be reasonable, highly cultured and steeped in propriety. The citizens in the kingdom of the greatest Creator are all reasonable, highly cultured and steeped in propriety. They are apt to learn culture, dance and song, music, poetry, admiration and appreciation. They have good breeding and training, they are refined and courteous and amiable when getting along with others. They are never rude and gross, and fierce-browed. They often help others to achieve success instead of gossiping and spreading scandals. They will never have pettiness of character and always have a tightly knit brow, haggling over trifles and trying to fathom and figure out what is other people's mind. They always conform to order and never interrupt abruptly. They always speak clearly and straightforwardly instead of blabbering without stop. Reasonable and highly cultured people steeped in propriety emanate charming fragrance and are welcome everywhere instead of being avoided like a plague. They never importune, never argue irrationally. They are never egoistic, and they never cause unhappiness and unpleasantness to others. Have a calm mind and a smiling face and be good at games. The citizens of the greatest Creator are always dignified, sacred and serene and elegant. They are not restless and flippant. They are as sedate as the green mountain, as serene as the green pool, and they are like the budding flowers and pleasantly warm breeze. They always walk so gently and gracefully, carrying their gaits so elegantly. Every knitting of the brows, every laughter, and every movement conforms to propriety. They will not scurry about, they are not flustered as if sitting on a bed of thorns, they will not engage in reckless yelling. They are good at games and can be immersed in them. Because they are the angels of happiness, the happy children of the greatest Creator, the chosen few favored by heaven and the incarnation of perfection, they can always bring joy, happiness, and good luck to others, instead of keeping a straight face and looking sanctimonious and poker-faced, without any vitality. The contents of copies of Life in the Thousand-Year World. Xiefeng, translation edited. June 8, 2010. Home Without Marriage and Family, which is created by Life Achanuan, is a transfer station from the mortal world to heaven, the thousand-year world, and also a transfer base of self-improvement and self-refinement to heaven, the 10,000-year world, the Elysium Islands continent. The Life in Home Without Marriage and Family copies the lifestyle of the celestial beings in the thousand-year world, and them live according to the lifestyle of the celestials in the thousand-year world. It is the basic guarantee for us to achieve the consciousness and quality of celestial beings in the 1,000-year world and finally reach the 1,000-year world. The contents of copies of life in the 1,000-year world. No marriage, no husband and wife, no family, men and women neither marry, nor are given in marriage. Nobody is capable of possessing any private property. Non-possession ownership is practiced. Individuals' basic needs are to be met by collective. Each does his best, each takes what he needs. Everybody has his, her tasks and takes corresponding responsibilities. They serve mutually and they owe each other nothing. No leaders but differences in responsibilities in arranging and a director for mediating life and work. Anyone who is able to work must undertake a job, regardless his, her age or gender. No idlers here. Each member participate in the collective learning and recreational activities voluntarily. To keep the environment clean and tidy, everything is orderly, peaceful and warm. There is no constitution, no law, no regulation, no commandment, and no dharma, there is only holographic order. Be collectively responsible for the support of the elderly and the raise and education of the children. There is no currency or reward. Everything is done in accordance with the natural instinct. Hold a variety of cultural and recreational activities. No temples, Taoist temples, monastery, churches and idol worship, neither burn incense nor, kowtow or, offer sacrifices. No witchcraft, magic, martial arts, Taoist magic, arts and other superstitious activities. Respect for science and make the full application of science and technology to serve the people. No financial industry, commerce, accounting, courts, lawyers, soldiers, policemen and prison. Be cremated after death, without leaving the ashes, the graves or memorial places. Do not produce any form of lethal weapons or competitive tools, appliances or toys. No tobacco or cigarettes. 2 meals a day. All members take their meals at the canteen. No eating the meat of wild animals, and no eating any animals, including poultry and livestock in the end. Outdoor bathing places, bathrooms, restrooms and toilets can be used regardless of gender. Be free in love and sex. Be free from interference and control as long as they are willing to do this regardless the number of people. There is no conception of father and kinship. The baby will be raised and educated by full-time nursery staffs and institutions after his, her mother's lactation period. All members change their habitats for one time every 3 years. The global standard of living is basically unified, no luxury, no waste, everyone will be guaranteed for sharing living resources. Each member enjoys a separate bedroom, which is absolutely free from disturbance, supervision and control. Follow the way of the greatest creator in an all-round way. The above is just a basic copy of the content of life in the 1,000-year world, and there, left a lot of content and details which will be adjusted and changed according to life-genuine value that Dharma sets no rules, it is ever-changing, keep the main but change the others according to the situation. Everything will be carried out for everyone's joy, happiness, freedom, and blessedness, and focus on the care for nature, the cherishment of life, the reverence for the greatest creator and the sublimation of the quality of life. The cultural aspects of the beauty of Life-Genuine's community life. Xiefeng. October 9, 2023. Ait by Qinyu. Culture is the nourishment of the soul. The kind of culture one is exposed to shapes one's soul. Ugly culture begets ugly souls, barbaric culture begets barbaric souls, and elegant and civilized culture begets cultured and refined souls. Conversely, ugly souls create ugly culture, noble souls create noble culture, barbaric souls create barbaric culture, and civilized souls create civilized culture. In the Bible, in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verses 43 and 44, Christ Jesus spoke about the relationship between culture and the soul, saying, "A good tree cannot produce bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot produce good fruit. You can identify them by their fruit, that is, by the way they act." This implies that good culture nurtures good souls, and bad culture influences the development of bad souls. By observing the behavior, speech, and living conditions of a particular ethnic group or population, we can determine whether their culture is barbaric or civilized. The beauty of life in the second home community has been experienced firsthand by hundreds of Chanyuan celestials. Why do Chanyuan celestials love and long for life in the community? Even after enduring more than a decade of trials and tribulations, they remain unwavering in their original intentions and unshaken in their faith. The answer lies in the culture of our community, which is noble, refined, profound, and civilized. Anyone can give it a try. Can you make 100 people from different backgrounds, who are strangers to each other, live together harmoniously, warmly, peacefully, happily, joyfully, freely, and blessedly? This life is free of quarrels, conflicts, complaints, or condemnation. There is no theft, corruption, poverty, or laziness. Each person voluntarily engages in creative labor without any administrative commands or compulsory measures. Can you achieve this? In our community, we have Christians, Buddhists, Taoists, Muslims, and even Communist Party members. We have urban professionals and rural folks, entrepreneurs, and the impoverished, PhD students and those who never completed elementary school. We have people in their 80s and 5 or 6-year-old children. All these people, with different backgrounds, cultures, beliefs, and values, have lived together harmoniously for over a decade. They respect and love each other, laugh and smile every day, living freely and happily. Can't this be taken as irrefutable proof that the culture of the second home community is highly civilized? Our community can be called the kingdom of the greatest creator, a replication of heavenly life, a utopia different from any utopian community in human history, including the New Harmony Village, founded by Robert Owen in the United States, surpassing it by 100-fold. The reason is that our community possesses a rich cultural heritage. Our community can be called the kingdom of the greatest creator, a replication of heavenly life, a parody on earth, and it can be described as genuine communism, entirely different from what has been discussed and practiced in modern history. Of course, it can also be referred to as a utopia, but this utopia is entirely distinct from any utopian community in human history. It surpasses Owen's New Harmony community in the United States by 100-fold, and the reason for this is our community's rich cultural heritage. Our community culture not only has universal values but also universal cosmic values. It means that our culture is suitable for any nationality, religion, political system, and culture on earth. It is applicable in the vast universe, from hell to heaven, from the celestial world to the Buddhist paradise, from the XYZ world to the XYZ world. Our community culture encompasses the teachings of Christ Jesus, Buddha Shakyamuni, Celestial Laozi, and the Prophet Muhammad. It includes rich content in philosophy, science, art, and the humanities. Our community culture provides a clearer and more thorough understanding of time and space. We provide unique explanations and analyses of concepts like horizontal spacetime. Our culture is down to earth, close to human nature, closer to facts, and closer to everyday life. We can rightfully call our culture heavenly culture. Our community culture is an open system, a transparent system. Anyone on earth, especially religious masters, political leaders, cultural elites, scientific experts, and philosophical giants, can come and try to refute it. If someone can overturn Chanyuan culture, they are like gods. Our community culture has nourished Chanyuan celestials, and it can also nourish anyone else. Only those who thoroughly understand Chanyuan culture can be considered true civilized people. Without an understanding of Chanyuan culture, regardless of who you are essentially a primitive person. The beauty of life in the second home community involves cultural, material, emotional, mental, and spiritual factors. In this article, we only discuss the cultural aspect. The cultural confidence of Chanyuan celestials. Dayform Buddha. November 11, 2022. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. I am a Chanyuan celestial. I stand on the peak of human civilization. What I know and what I do is unprecedented and unrepeatable. I have reached the state of unselfishness and selflessness. Among the saints from generation to generation, I am the best. When it comes to human civilization, Life Changyun's theory and practice are magnificent, profound, perfect and complete, which are unmatchable. Beyond Changyun celestials, no one can lead human beings from barbarism and ignorance to a high degree of civilization. Any theories about human civilization, including religious books, are pale and full of loopholes in the face of Life Changyun's theory, and any organization and practice about advancing human civilization, including all kinds of communities around the world, are just like children in front of Life Changyun's second home. All the cultivators in history and those who cultivate immortals and Buddhas in the current time and space, in the eyes of Changyun celestials, are aimless practitioners and blind followers who play with concepts, and few of them can really become celestial being or Buddha. Only Changyun celestials, in less than 10 years, can be reborn, transcend worldly affairs and attain the spiritual state of an immortal by living in the second home program. The only group that can free mankind from war, starvation, crime and disaster are the Changyun celestials. Only the Changyun celestial group can bring good weather and clear rivers in nature, make the people all over the world live and work in peace and contentment, and make society to be such that no one will pocket anything found on the ground and doors are not bolted at night. The United Nations cannot do it, the United States and other Western countries cannot do it, not to mention China and other Eastern countries. No religious group can do it, let alone any non-profit organizations or groups. The theory and practice of Changyun celestials are open to the world, and everything is open to the public. Anyone who thinks that their theory and practice are superior to the Changyun ones can come to contest this with us. True gold fears no fire, and the string state is not afraid of collision. The future production and life mode of human beings will be the second home model created by Changyun celestials. This is a natural way that is not to be changed by the subjective will of people. No one can stop this development trend, and no country can stop this leap and change of civilization. In the future, the only people living on the earth will be Changyun celestials, and in the future, the only people who can go to heaven are Changyun celestials. The Cultural Confidence of Life Changyun. Xiefeng. November 26, 2022. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. Thought is a weapon that is more powerful than the atomic bomb. The power of thought is incomparable to all scientific and technological inventions and more valuable than all the gold, silver, jewelry, dollars, euros, and other currencies on this earth. Life Changyun is a kind of thought that has never been seen before or previously. It is the synthesis of all the tangible and intangible wealth in history. Whoever possesses the thought of Life Changyun will have the best future. Whoever masters the thought of Life Changyun will become the mentor of mankind. Human society in the future will be a society illuminated by the thought of Life Changyun. The thought of Life Changyun is not only a cultural phenomenon, but also a feasible practical example. Human beings have never solved the problem of official corruption, but Life Changyun has solved it perfectly. Human beings have never solved the problem of supporting the elderly, but Life Changyun has solved it perfectly. Human beings have never solved the problem of disparity between rich and poor, but Life Changyun has solved it perfectly. Human beings have never eliminated the crimes of stealing and robbery, but Life Changyun has solved them perfectly. Human beings have never solved the contradictions and conflicts in marriage and families, but Life Changyun has solved them perfectly. Human beings have never solved the problems of urban-rural disparity, differences between manual labor and intellectual labor, and the difference between workers and peasants, etc., but Life Changyun has solved them perfectly. Human beings have never solved the problem of disputes and wars between countries, and Life Changyun has solved them perfectly. Human beings have never solved the problem of unemployment, but Life Changyun has solved it perfectly. Human beings have never solved the sex-life problems of men and women, but Life Changyun has solved them perfectly. Human beings have never solved the problem of property distribution, but Life Changyun has solved it perfectly. Human beings have never solved the problems of gambling, drug abuse and prostitution, but Life Genuine has solved them perfectly. Human beings have never solved the problem of raising and educating orphans, but Life Genuine has solved it perfectly. Human beings have never solved the issue of territorial disputes, but Life Genuine has solved it perfectly. Human beings have never solved the conflicts between religions, but Life Genuine has solved them perfectly. Human beings have never fulfilled the explanation of the relationships between life, time and space, consciousness, structure, and energy, but Life Genuine has fulfilled them perfectly. Human beings have never realized the ideal of, no one will pocket anything found on the ground and doors are not bolted at night, and everyone lives and works in peace and contentment. But Life Genuine has realized it perfectly. Human beings' unrestrained waste of natural resources has brought about a huge crisis of resource scarcity and unsustainable human development. There is no foreseeable solution to this problem, but Life Genuine already has a practical solution. There are also problems that are difficult for human beings to solve in the fields of medical treatment, schooling, disease, and health care. Life Genuine already has a plan to deal with them, so I will not mention them here in detail. Just these obvious examples mentioned above should be enough to see the depth, profoundness, and the vast capabilities of Life Genuine thought. Can Life Genuine not be culturally confident? Can any country, any religion, any political party, any organization and group, any saints and great men, experts, and professors, etc. perfectly solve the above problems? The answer is, it is impossible. Who can? The answer is, Life Genuine can. If you do not believe it, you can try it yourself. If you can perfectly solve the above problems in both theory and practice, you are the Oriental saint that is named in prophecy. The differences between traditional family and Chanyuan family. Xiefeng. September 20, 2007. Someone may say, Chanyuan always proclaims to break from the family, yet it is building a new family by itself, Chanyuan. This is a misunderstanding to Life Genuine, a symbol of not knowing the essence of Life Genuine at all. Rice wine, red wine and Mao Tai all are wine but different in nature. Apricot tree, peach tree and willow all are trees but different in nature. Ant, elephant and people are life but different in nature. Ignorant people, sage and celestial all are human being but different in nature. The Democratic Party, Republican Party and Communist Party all are political parties but different in nature. Buddhism, Christian and Islam all are religions but different in nature. Traditional family and Chanyuan family are families but different in nature. The differences between traditional family and Chanyuan family. Traditional family. Center on kindreds and parents. Affinity-disaffinity classify by blood relationship. Limited number of people. Have parents, children and marriage. Can't make the planet into one family. Results of private ownership. Inevitably result in private ownership. Result in a series of competition and suffering. Family member can't enjoy freedom. Chanyuan family. Center on the greatest creator. Affinity-disaffinity classify by the resonant frequency with the greatest creator's Tao. Unlimited number of people. No parents, children and marriage. Can make the planet into one family. Results of non-ownership. Inevitable result in non-ownership. Eliminate the competition and lessen the suffering to the maximum. Family member can enjoy the maximum freedom. It can be seen from the chart that there are a world of differences between traditional family and Chanyuan family, not the same at all. Life must belong to something, otherwise it cannot exist. Life body must have a home, otherwise it is called ghost. There are all kinds of home modes in the universe. Some people regard traditional family as their home, some people regard workplace as their home, some people regard religious group as their home, some people regard their country as home, some people regard the universe as their home, and the Life Genuine regard the greatest creator's Tao as their home. Apparently, there seems no difference between the traditional family and Chanyuan family. Both of them are family modes, but they vary in contents and forms. That is to say, they are similar in form, vary in contents. Going to America from North Korea, getting into Islam from Buddhism, taking part in the Communist Party from the Republican Party, getting into the thousand-year world from the mortal world, although all of them are abandoning one and adapting another, their nature and contents are totally different. Leaving the traditional family and getting into the Chanyuan family, which seems to be going to a family from another, but the contents of life are totally different. Chanyuan family can do, and even can do, lots of things that the traditional family is not able to do. Getting into life a Chanyuan family from the traditional family is like getting into the thousand-year world from the mortal world. Everything is different. Frogs whether live in wells, ponds, rivers, lakes and seas, they all live in water, but the value and the significance of their life are totally different. We can feel the differences between living in the single-story building of 10 square meters, storied houses of 100 square meters and villa of 1,000 square meters. Living in traditional family is like living in a single-story building of 10 square meters, living in life a Chanyuan family is like living in the villa of 1,000 square meters. It is not the same as you walk out a single-story building of 10 square meters to another. It is difficult for one to imagine what life a Chanyuan family is if he has never been there. How can you make judgments on life a Chanyuan family if you have never been there and experienced its lifestyle? And if you insist in making comments, it will be like the tale of the blind men describing an elephant. To a person who has never eaten cactus, no matter how you describe its taste and the way to eat it, it is useless, unless you are the cactus or the greatest creator. There aren't walls in life a Chanyuan family. To those who said there are walls in family, the walls are built by themselves and are the projections of their own thinking and consciousness. To people have fully achieved Tao, it makes no difference where he lives or with whom he lives. But to people who is cultivating Tao and upholding Tao, the collective self-refinement is very important. I have explained this theory thoroughly in Life is a Journey. It is very easy to understand that, only the combination of an oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms can constitute a water molecule, only the unite of an adult female and an adult male can make reproduction. The 8 root causes of why Chanyuan celestials are unbreakable. Xiefeng. September 2, 2021. Chanyuan celestials spent 11 years building 12 poetic and picturesque paradise-like homes in Yunnan, Jiangsu, Xinjiang, and Guizhou provinces, but 9 times they were forcibly evicted out of their homes by the government. 16 years of hard work and sweat and a lifetime's properties have all came to naught. Should the Chanyuan celestials stop? No. If they are intimidated by difficulties, then they are not Chanyuan celestials. Even if they don't reach their goal, they will never give up. Cease to struggle and you cease to live. Why? Heaven and earth perceives that we have clear consciences. Ever since Chanyuan celestials were born on this planet, it has transpired that mankind has entered its most civilized era. In the past 16 years, not a single Chanyuan celestial has committed any illegal activities, and no Chanyuan celestial has participated in gambling, taking drugs, beating, cursing, stealing, embezzling, robbery, or other activities that are harmful to nature, society, or life. We have not committed any legal crimes, let alone economic crimes. On the contrary, we have set the most civilized example for mankind, opened the most civilized road for mankind since human history began, and created a heaven-like production and life mode that is completely different from the traditional production and life mode. Heaven and earth perceive all and we have clear consciences, so we will continue to trek forward in the direction of the way of nature as we always have. How can I go back after the first taste of heaven? The second home created by Life a Chanyuan is a copy of the 1,000-year world of the Kingdom of Heaven. Although the lifestyle of the 1,000-year world has not been completely copied due to limited conditions, only a partial copy is enough for every Chanyuan celestial who has lived in the second home to be excited over it. It was like having tasted the taste of fairy peaches and being no longer interested in wild peaches. It is impossible for Chanyuan celestials to go back to their previous lives. Although they can be suppressed physically, one's heart cannot be suppressed. Once things turn around, Chanyuan celestials will rebuild the Garden of Eden. Already being at the top of the mountain, you can see in one encompassing vision how tiny all the mountains really are. Chanyuan celestials are very clear about Tao and Taoism, Buddha and Buddhism, human beings, and human law, etc., and have a clear understanding of the future of mankind. Whether it's from reading the teachings of gods, Buddhas, immortals, and saints throughout history, or reading the writings of today's great masters, they can see where their advantages and disadvantages lie, and they smile a smile of understanding of preaching about many matters. Because of their profound achievements, they have reached the realm of, do not mention streams to him who has seen a great ocean, the clouds that circle Wu's peak are the only clouds for him, and they will not hesitate and wander around. Can you imagine that such a Chanyuan celestial can be destroyed? Believe in the guide to the marrow. There are no leaders, no managers, no bosses, no masters in life at Chanyuan, but only one tour guide. The Chanyuan celestials believe in this tour guide to their marrow and love this guide to the cells in their blood. This trust and love are not because the tour guide can brag, but because the tour guide is amiable. The tour guide is a naughty child. Chanyuan celestials can play with him in the mud, joke with him, line up for dinner with him, go down the river with him to take a bath naked. The most important thing is, what the tour guide said and does is always consistent, and he almost never pursues any personal perquisites, and will not spend everyone's donations on himself, not to mention impose his will on any Chanyuan celestials. Therefore, no matter how close or how far the tour guide is, the heart of the Chanyuan celestials is always connected with the heart of the tour guide. It can be said that they are very close, and this stance is difficult to destroy. Having found heavenly relatives. I would like to ask, is there a group of people in the world who would not only rather wear rags and eat chaff and swallow vegetables by themselves, but also try to donate their hard-earned money to the homeland that is in their hearts for free? Not once or twice, not for a year or two, but 10 times and hundreds of times, several years or more than 10 years. Some have donated all of their life savings. Many young Chanyuan celestials only keep a few hundred yuan a month for themselves and donate the remaining thousands of their earnings from work. Some donate almost half of their monthly fixed salary. Some elderly people don't make money by themselves, but as long as they have a few hundred yuan in their hands, they happily donate it. Life at Chanyuan has built 12 heavenly homes in 11 years. With investing millions or even tens of millions in funds for each location, imagine how we did it. It is all made possible by the unselfish, free, and continuous dedication of Chanyuan celestials. Aren't Chanyuan celestials a bit silly? If you think it is stupid, it is because of your human thoughts, not the consciousness of immortals and Buddhas. The consciousness of Chanyuan celestials is no longer a human consciousness, and you cannot use human consciousness to understand the behavior of Chanyuan celestials. The behavior of Chanyuan celestials is not stupid, but they have found their heavenly relatives and made dedication to their heavenly relatives. Why wouldn't they be happy? In fact, heavenly relatives do not need the dedication of others, and everything will eventually be returned to the devotees themselves, and it will be doubled. As for what kind of relatives are heavenly relatives, you can only discover and find them if you pour your body and soul into it. Chanyuan celestials are giving formless alms. The Buddha told us, the merits and virtues of formless almsgiving outweigh those of 7 treasure almsgiving which are as countless as the grains of sand in the Gobi Desert. Chanyuan celestials do not give alms to specific people, organizations, groups, nationalities, and countries. The almsgiving of Chanyuan celestials goes from heaven to hell, from insects and plants to mountains, rivers, and earth, to human beings for generations to come. They will all benefit infinitely from the almsgiving of the Chanyuan celestials, and the rewards that Chanyuan celestials can obtain are so wonderful that it is difficult to describe them in words. With this opportunity, how can Chanyuan celestials let go of this? How can Chanyuan celestials be destroyed? Firmly believe that 256 homes will be built. A predicament is a temporary phenomenon. Everything changes rapidly. A high-ranking official with a high salary today may become a poor prisoner tomorrow. One who is with a great fortune today, living a life of lively feasting, may starve to death on the road tomorrow. It is up to the greatest creator to judge who is right or wrong, and it is up to Tao to assess our merits and faults. Natural justice is always there, and Tao is eternal. Life Echanuan's plan to build 256 paradises on the earth will definitely be realized, due to human nature and the rules of civilization, and no one can stop it. With this belief, can Chanyuan celestials be destroyed? Chanyuan celestials are unrestrained and graceful in play. With such a playful mentality, can the Chanyuan celestials be destroyed? You must be joking. 1-8. The 18 bottom lines to be a human. Dayform Buddha. October 19, 2006. Butterfly flock around when flowers are blossoming. Virtue occupies when hearts rectified. The branches are thick when root is deeply embedded in the ground. Tao is generated when principles is set up. Life Echanuan formulates 18 bottom lines to be a human. Those who break through the bottom line will be regarded as demons and ghosts with evil spirit. Be obedient to our parents. Our parents give us life. They are just like the sky above our head and the earth under our feet. They enable us to stand between the sky and the earth. No matter what our parents are like, they give life to us and nurture us on this land. The filial affection and obedience are children's obligation. No matter whom you are, an ordinary people or a president, no matter where you are, nearby or far away, to make your parents happy and live comfortable in your hometown are your absolute duties. Never humiliate the ancestors. The tree has a root and water has a source. Our ancestors are our roots and sources, no matter they are moral or immoral. Humiliating the ancestors is really a degenerated behavior, which must draw down the wrath of heaven. Therefore, what should be done is recalling the ancestors' merits with deep emotion, understanding their difficulties at the time, looking forward and moving for a better future. Never insult the king. One principle of heaven is that the colony of ants, bees must have a king. Everything has a core, and human society also has kings. The principle of heaven must follow the way of heaven, and it is impossible for human beings to get the secret of that. No matter what the name is, chairman or president, no matter how the position is taken, intern or lifetime, no matter what kind of personality the king is, integrity and talent or immorality and commonplace, he deserves to be respected, not insulted. Show reverence to the greatest creator. We know nothing about how vast the universe is, how wonderful all things on earth are, how profound the 36-dimensional space is, and how mysterious the changes of time and space are. There are 18 inner contents in human body which are beyond the control of consciousness, such as the reason of dreaming, the spot of unconsciousness, and the track of lifetime and life itself, and we know nothing about these things. The way of death is also a puzzle. So how could we not revere the greatest creator? Blasphemy will cause the impossible opening of telegnosis, and such an ignorant behavior is like a fool. We should be humble in front of the greatest creator all the time and should never degenerate to be an unruly man. Seek truth from facts. The truth is the basis for justifying right or wrong, true or false, beautiful or ugly. Disregarding the truth is perverting the law, even illegal. The behavior of creating something out of nothing, or fabricating information, is with evil intentions in one's mind. Uncritical trust or comments without any support from the truth is the devil's skill. We should never fabricate the truth, ramble on about the facts, believe or follow others blindly, never make comments groundlessly. We should seek truth from facts before action. Everything we do should be based on truth. Never bully widowers, widows, orphans, childless couples and other socially vulnerable groups. The fate of widowers, widows, orphans, childless couples and other social vulnerable groups is caused by their own faults. It is the result of retribution for bad deeds, and they should not blame anyone or anything but themselves. In spite of this, their situation should not be a reason for people to bully them. Helping them get rid of this troublesome life is an important way to achieve the stage of God, Buddha, celestial being, sage and saint. What Jesus the Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, and the great man Mao Zedong had been struggling all their lives for the happiness of these people. This is a mark of consciousness. Never destroy other people's homeland or animals' nesting sites. Heaven loves people and people will enjoy their life. It is very natural for any creature to cherish and protect its life. Either imperial palaces or cave dwellings, either the birds' nests or the mammals' dens, all of these places are for protecting or nurturing one's life. Never take or destroy them by force. Make a living by working and creating. The workers are beautiful. Creation is the source of happiness. Never steal, rob, plunder, practice graft or accept bribes, never commit swindle or crime imaginable. Never hurt your brothers and sisters, neighbors and friends. Our brothers and sisters, neighbors and friends are valuable spiritual wealth in our lifetime. It is unacceptable to hurt them. Never join in any religious or political organizations. A man of noble character favors making friends with other people rather than forming cliques, while a vile character favors forming cliques rather than making friends. The ordinary people are simple, kind, honest and tolerant. They recognize their social positions and act according to traditional decorum. However, the followers of demons are treacherous, cunning, and unscrupulous. They are skilled in political tricksters and always assume that they would be lucky in successfully tricking. Any government is the result of political structure, and various political organizations or parties are just like tumors growing in the body human society. Never take part in any superstitious activities. Various characteristically secret or cryptic activities, such as praying and consulting an oracle, drawing divination sticks, fortune-telling, charm and ghost-catching, telepathize, E.T. groups, angel groups, someone showing its presence and power, master opening the light, the coming of Christ, reincarnation, being possessed by a demon, etc. are heterodox doctrines. One should not participate in these activities. Never expose others' secrets. Dig ancestral graves is exposing another one's secrets. Breaking into other people's hometown or house is exposing their secrets. Doggedly pursuing others for taking candid pictures is exposing their secrets, while fixing cameras for observing other people's behavior is also exposing their secrets. Opening the secrets to the public which should be kept in secret is making exposure too. One should not disclose others' secrets. Never commit fraud. Fraud is a demoniac nature. To commit fraud is to create demons. No matter what kind of fraud behavior it is, forged certificate, bogus diploma, fake identification, fake medicine, adulterated wine and foods, false claims, falsified accounts, fail certificates, misrepresented material facts, phony money, pretended feeling, or any other form of frauds, are strictly forbidden. Keep promises and be trustworthy. Keeping to what is promised is called being honest, carrying through what is promised is called being faithful. A dishonest man will never be successful, and he does not deserve the name of human being either. Please remember that never make rash promises, because every promise must be fulfilled. Being responsible to what is promised, even at the cost of your life. Show respect for elders and teachers. From the teachers in kindergarten to the tutors in the college, from the masters teaching us by doing to the masters instructing our lifetime and life, it is them who had or have been accompanying us laboriously in our life. No matter what his or her character is or what professional abilities he or she may have, showing respect for elders and teachers is our duty. We should respect the elders, respect those who are superior to us in ages, positions, abilities, and intelligence, and also respect those people who made more contributions. Love our country, love our hometown, and never defame our nation. The mountains and rivers of our country nurture us, it needs being eulogized and protected. The root of a nation is the motherland, and no matter how ugly the nation is, one should never break off his relationship with his motherland. No matter how critical you are at home, your fellow countrymen remain the same, and you should never demonize your nation and fellow men in front of other nationalities. The personality of a man should never get lost. A man who publicly besmirches himself will never be respected by others and never deserve that respect. Show reverence to life and nature. All things on earth have spirits, all spirits have lives, all lives have feelings, all feelings have loves, and all loves have pains. Putting yourself in the places of other creatures, feeling their pains and hurts just as it's your pain and hurt, you will get a noble sentiment of revering life. Be not a butcher, be not a life-maltreated man. Human beings rely on nature for a living, celestial and tress, mountains and rivers, winds, clouds, rain and snow, the sun, the moon and the star, so on and so forth, all things in nature please our eyes. We would not exist without them. Prostrate yourself in front of nature and revere it. Take good care of nature meticulously in the same way of embracing your lover. Never deprive others of their freedom. Everybody has a right to enjoy freedom, whether a parent or a child, husband or wife. Don't injure or deprive others of their freedom for the benefit of your own. Ignoring the public hygiene will injure or deprive others of their freedom of enjoying clean and tidy environment. Talking loudly in public places will deprive others freedom of enjoying peaceful time. Too loud voices of television will deprive neighbors freedom of their peaceful and auspicious atmosphere in the rooms. Stopping others to express their opinions freely is to deprive them of their freedom of speech. Everybody is free to follow his inclinations, but the bottom line should be avoiding the injuries or depriving other people of their freedom. Summary. The 18 bottom lines to be a human. Be obedient to our parents. Never humiliate the ancestors. Never insult the king. Show reverence to the greatest creator. Seek truth from facts. Never bully widowers, widows, orphans, childless couples and other socially vulnerable groups. Never destroy other people's homeland or animals' nesting sites. Make a living by working and creating. Never hurt your brothers and sisters, neighbors and friends. Never join in any religious or political organizations. Never take part in any superstitious activities. Never expose others' secret. Never commit fraud. Keep promises and be trustworthy. Show respect for elders and teachers. Love our country, love our hometown, and never defame our nation. Show reverence to life and nature. Never deprive others of their freedom. To build a house requires a sound foundation, while to be a man also requires a sound foundation in mind. Adhering to the above 18 bottom lines will enable you stand firmly between heaven and the earth, and you will be an integral part of nature. Great virtue and integrity will be generated from this, real soul and real spirit will be generated from this. By observing all these, you can get whatever you want, or at least be on the right track of Tao. The fewer people there are, the harder it is for them to get along. Xiefeng. December 5, 2021. I don't know if you have experienced this, but the fewer people there are, the more difficult it is for them to get along with each other, and the more people there are, the easier. 95% of husbands and wives in the world do not live a very harmonious life together. Why? Because there are too few people. Just two of them. If one likes spicy food, the other likes sweet food, one likes to go to bed early, the other likes to go to bed late, one doesn't eat meat, the other likes to eat meat, one wants to stay at home quietly on Sunday, the other wants to go shopping on Sunday, so on and so forth. There are differences in their hobbies and personalities, but they have to stay together day and night. This relationship is not easy for anyone to handle. It is not easy when you are young, and it is even harder when you become old. It is just because of the restraints of their environment and interests that people have no other choice, they must put up with each other. In a small environment, if 5 or 6 people live together for a long time, they will often barely get along with each other at the beginning, and over time, conflicts will inevitably occur. The reason is not that any of them are bad, but that each person has a different personality and different hobbies. One likes to work with the window open, and the other likes to close the window while working. This can be difficult to reconcile. Occasionally, one person can give in and compromise, but it is absolutely unbearable for one person to endure this for a long time. Even if it is a group of dozens of people, if they spend their whole life in the same environment, unpleasantness is inevitable. The docile ones, shy ones, will give the other people a hard stare when they see them, and the assertive ones will be quarreling, or they may even resort to force. Selfishness is the main reason for difficult relationships, but differences in personality, temper, addictions, hobbies, realms, and patterns are non-negligible factors that are more likely to cause friction. Faced with such a situation, we cannot say who is right and who is wrong, let alone can we limit and restrain anyone with moral preaching. The best way and measure are to separate them. Why do people in the 1,000-year world and the 10,000-year world always get along with each other warmly and harmoniously? The main factor is that they are all spiritually perfect, but it is also a very good measure for them to change their environment frequently as well and then never to see each other again. This is why, in the model of Life Achanuan's second home, it is stipulated that all members must move frequently. After living in a certain home for 3 years, everyone must move to another home, and some even go to live in another home after living in one home for only 1 year. In this way, the possibility of conflicts due to long-term relationships is solved. Therefore, the second home mode of Life Achanuan is superior to any human-to-human relationship that there has been in thousands of years. From this point alone, when more and more members of the human species realize this point, they will definitely choose the life mode of Life Achanuan's second home, because this mode will make people feel free and happy for the rest of their lives. The funeral system of Life Achanuan. Xiefeng. July 15, 2009. Methods adopted to dispose of corpses are mainly these: inhumations, cremations, water burials, celestial burials, sky burials, hanging coffin burials, tower burials, wild burials, cave burials, antiseptic burials, sky burials. Among the many methods, basically one decision is paramount: to preserve the corpse or to destroy it. Preserving the corpse is to give the soul a home or keep it for the resurrection, and destroying the corpse is to liberate the soul that they might reincarnate as human or go to heaven. The main ways adopted by modern societies to dispose of corpses are by burning and consigning their ashes in funeral parlors or burying them in cemeteries and setting monuments where people may pay their respects. I have pondered on the disposal issue for when Chanyuan celestials pass on. From any perspective, the best way to dispose of them is by burning and spreading their ashes across fields and rivers. No trace of any corpse or grave should be left behind. I recently went to a cemetery in Jiuquan, Jiaguan. It was built like a garden and the price for the cheapest grave site was 12,000 RMB, while the most expensive ones exceeded 30,000 RMB. I felt rather sad because living is already difficult enough, but dying should not leave even more misery and sadness for those who remain. I once drove across 2 cemeteries, one in Harare, Zimbabwe, and the other in Lanzhou, China. The cemeteries each occupied large areas. There were thousands of tombstones lined up, as if thousands of souls were crowded there and talking to the living people, but what were they saying? It is understandable that their offspring wanted to create beautiful and comfortable places for the souls of their ancestors to rest. Every soul is not only worthy of respect and to be arranged in the best places possible in order to comfort them and allow them to rest in tranquility, but also to suit the living. This is reasonable, so when we arrange for the dead, we should also consider the living and the offsprings, so which kind of funeral method is most reasonable? The biggest danger of water and celestial burials is that diseased corpses could infect animals including fish, birds, mammals, reptiles, insects, and others, and eventually humans. Therefore, we encourage neither water burial, celestial burial, nor other similar methods. The biggest disadvantage of inhumation is that it consumes land that living people need. In the case of cremation, whether the ashes are placed in funeral homes or buried inside monuments, the nature of cremations remains the same as that of the inhumation, as it still brings trouble to future generations. The best disposal method can only be cremation, with the ashes being scattered across mountains and rivers. Funeral systems are reflections of cultures. The formations of cultures are based on people's understanding of nature, human society, and life. When we look at the dead from the perspective of life, we find that souls go to one of four places after death. 1. The upper world. 2. The lower world. 3. Reincarnation back to mortality. 4. Staying between yin and yang space temporarily. So, for 95% of the dead, their physical remains have no value or meaning to them. They only serve as spiritual comfort to their living descendants. As the spiritual guide of life Changyuan, I do not interfere with how others treat the memories of their friends and relatives. People can do whatever they find to be appropriate, but for Changyuan celestials, my suggestions are that after they leave this world, most will go to the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium Celestial Islands continent. They will not go to lower realms of life such as the animal world, plant world, or hell world, nor will they reincarnate and return to the human world, let alone hover between yin and yang space as lonely ghosts. Therefore, there is no need to leave any trace of their physical remains in this world, because even a single small trace would leave worries and would present hidden troubles to their future lives in heaven. Thus, the funeral system of life Changyuan is to not let your descendants be extravagant with your body. Do not have your descendants cry for you. Do not have your descendants make graves and tombstones for you. Do not have your descendants make coffins and urns for you. Cremate the corpse and scatter the ashes across mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas. The above are just suggestions for Changyuan celestials outside life Changyuan. Whether you want to accept them or not is up to you. However, for the Changyuan celestials living within our community, the new oasis for life, they are not suggestions, but requirements. Whether you accept them or not, the home will arrange your funeral for you like this after you leave this world. Any Changyuan celestial who is unwilling to accept it should choose to live outside the community. In short, the funeral system of life Changyuan is good for future Changyuan celestials' lives because it eases the burdens on relatives and friends maximally, wastes no space on the earth, and causes no trouble to future generations. This is a symbol of civilization and one of cultural sublimation. The golden key to open the door of happiness of the second home, now new oasis for life. Xiefeng. May 7, 2012. Note, translated by Tongson and edited by Ailian. To build our home into a happy fairyland, we must always remember one principle, that is everything in the second home is for realizing the happiness, freedom and blessing for our brothers and sisters. You can do or say anything that brings happiness, freedom and blessing to our brothers and sisters, otherwise, you had better not to do or say it. We must always remember, our home is designed and built for Changyuan celestials, and is serving for Changyuan celestials. Therefore, no matter what we are going to say or do, as long as it brings happiness, freedom and blessing to brothers and sisters, it is right. Otherwise it is wrong. Every brother and sister, if your words and behaviors can bring happiness, freedom and blessing to our brothers and sisters, then whatever you say or do, you are a moral person. Otherwise, you are wrong, you are a person without morals. When our branch directors arrange the daily life in each branch, you also need to focus on the principle of bring happiness, freedom and blessing to each brother and sister, let everybody live happily and harmoniously, and feel happy and comfortable in our home. We should never protect our home at the expense of everyone's happiness and freedom. At the same time, each Changyuan celestial who is living in the second home as a permanent resident, you also need to remember whatever you say or do, please consider the happiness and freedom of other brothers and sisters. Once what you say or do is on the price of scarifying other people, you are wrong. Don't use any excuse or reason to bring pain, anxiety, fear or troubles to other brothers and sisters. Once the head rope of a fishing net is pulled out, all its meshes open. What I am saying above is the head rope. As long as we do things around this head rope, then a fairyland is surely can be built out, and every brother and sister will live a paradise-like life in the second home. The great meaning of the birth of the fifth branch of the second home, now new oasis for life, in Japan. Xiefeng. November 23, 2013. Translated by Tsong Long and edited by Kair. November 11, 2013 is the date when the second home of Life Changyuan in China and Konohana family in Japan united as one big family. Since this date the two communities have become one and will share happiness and hardships, stand together through storm and stress, and support each other in adversity. This is an epoch-marking step in human civilization. People from different countries, ethnic groups, cultures, and backgrounds can treat each other as families, and call each other brothers and sisters. There are no more fights, conflicts, discriminations, or misunderstandings. People will live and advance together in harmony, love, and peace forever. This step shows that the people of both China and Japan have big hearts and broad minds to overcome the historical indignations and resolve historical grievances, and are able to use love to create a beautiful future for both countries and use intelligence to initiate a peaceful era of common prosperity. We have set an example for humanity that no matter what ethnic group, religion, or culture we come from, or what our skin color is, and no matter how many historic sufferings and hardships we need to face along the way, as long as we hold love in our heart and pursue freedom and happiness for all human beings, we can unite as one harmonious family. Through the time-space tunnel that the second home and Konohana family united as one, we can foresee that the dream of an international family united by nations all over the world is manifesting gradually. At that time, people will travel freely among 256 branches of Life Changyuan around the world and they will have families and homes everywhere. In each branch, there will be blacks, whites, and Asians, there will be Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, and Hindus, and there will be children, youngsters, people in their prime, and seniors. Everyone will enjoy a worry-free and communal lifestyle. The living environment of each branch will be like the present second home and Konohana family, green mountains and clear streams where a large variety of flowers are blossoming and flocks of birds are flying. It will be an idyllic fairyland on earth. Concord is better than fighting and harmony is better than confrontation. Peace excels conflict and unification excels separation. I hope that more than 1,000 communities around the world will learn from us and positively integrate into this big international family, and create a brilliant and civilized future by love. Also let our later generations enjoy eternal happiness, joy, and freedom. Building an international family is in alignment with the tenets and spirit of the United Nations, and I sincerely hope that the UN will give moral support and conveniences to this international family. The new oasis for life does not value rarities. Zufing. December 15, 2020. Life Changyuan follows the way of the greatest creator, that is, the way of nature. As the new oasis for life which takes the way of nature, the most important things for everyone are the mountains, rivers, air, blue sky, sun, moon, white clouds, green hills, blue water, the earth, countryside, flowers and trees, livestock, birds, other animals, and so on. What are not important to us are rare goods. Anything that is rare, valuable, expensive or top-branded is unimportant. For example, there is no need for anyone to wear gemstone necklaces, earrings, rings, famous brand clothes and accessories, or to buy expensive supplies. Everything's priority is its practicability, not its popularity or high price. As far as our home is concerned, there is no need to buy any high-end consumer goods. If utensils are plain and clean, then basic pottery is better than gold or jade. If there is moderation and choice in food, then vegetables are better than rare delicacies. No icing on cakes is necessary and the simplest is the best. Decorations are needed, but those in our home environment are based upon flowers. All kinds of flowers are to be planted around our residence: plums, orchids, bamboo, and chrysanthemums. Fruit trees are to be planted so the birds can perch, make nests, fly, and tweet all year long. A landscape painting would be good to hang indoors. Personal decorations are not based on wearing and dressing, but on cleanliness, tidiness, and decency. Do you remember that at the start of more than a dozen previous homes that we constructed, I asked that we build spacious, bright, and comfortable bathrooms and toilets, and then the kitchens, because those places reflect the degree of civilization of our homes and relate directly to everyone's three important H's: hygiene, health, and happiness. According to Changyuan values, I suggest that rare goods such as gemstones, famous brand wear and supplies, cultural relics, and religious trinkets should not be allowed in our home. For these rare goods, not only should we not buy them, but we should not accept them even as free gifts. Celebrities of all levels and types are not allowed to enter our homes. Our homes are all made up of simple, kind, hardworking, honest, and ordinary people. We cannot afford celebrities nor can we afford moral preachers, we only need humble workers and sincere service providers. Therefore, when searching for future Chanyuan celestials, stay away from celebrities, especially those who do not do practical work but have the gift of gab, people who lecture on scriptures and talk dharma, and from preachers. We need all kinds of craftsmen who can grow vegetables, flowers, and trees, can raise pigs, sheep, chickens, and cows, can build houses, and all kinds of skilled workers are welcome, but never people who know magical arts such as witchcraft, psychicism, feng shui, alchemy, healing, reciting mantras, and non-medical methods for curing diseases. In addition, there must be no religious ceremonies of any kind in our home, whether from Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, or other sects or folk belief systems except for simple rituals for worshipping the ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator, in major festivals. No magical methods or techniques that are spooky and have no scientific basis are allowed in our home, and portraits of gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, saints, great men, heroes, or even of Xiafeng are allowed to be displayed anywhere. As the guide, I do not advocate meditation, living in seclusion, dieting, yoga, or of practicing these techniques, because they are rare practices. Follow the way of nature, work at sunrise, and rest at sunset. You can work hard on music, chess, calligraphy and painting, on becoming a craftsman, on gymnastics, dance and tai chi, and making an effort on creating material wealth, spiritual wealth, and soul wealth, on learning selections of popular science, on creating a happy, joyous, free, and blessed life atmosphere, but never on rare goods and practices. We common people must always think about common people's affairs and do what common people do, but never think about and do rare things. The number one home in the world. Xiafeng. July 24, 2008. Where there is happiness and auspiciousness, there is the greatest creator, where there is joy and delight, there is caring of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, freedom and happiness are wishes of sages and wise men, saints in all ages. Quarreling and fighting belong to devils, the place struggling for fame and power to raise self-pride is the gathering place of demons and monsters, the place filled with suffering, constraints and misery is the bustling place of ignorant persons and laity. Life Changyuan is the number one home in the world, which possesses the following 18 features. We should constantly revere the greatest creator, revere life, revere nature and walk the way of the greatest creator. We should constantly trust and comply with the instructions of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni. We should constantly obey the guidance of the sages and saints of all ages and carry out them in our daily life. We should constantly create Life Changyuan era for human beings and live by Life Changyuan values ourselves, and the most important task is to make countries, political parties, religions and families disappear to set up a global government and realize such a society. Person of virtue won't be abandoned by government, all people in the world become one big family, no one pockets anything found on the road, doors unnecessarily to be shut in the evening, the weather is pleasant, harmony and peace are everywhere, everyone is happy and joyful, everything is prosperous, human beings and the earth become one and happiness and abundance are everywhere. We should constantly show the truth, goodness, beauty, love, honesty and trust side of the nature, human life and life. We should constantly climb towards the summit of human life and life. All the members of Life Changyuan are brothers, sisters, relatives and lovers. We will not quarrel, argue, fight, conquer, compel, impel, exploit or depress each other but care, cherish, respect and love each other. The traditional family pattern and husband-wife relationship will completely disappear. The private property will be cancelled and the whole society adopts non-ownership system. The aged will be supported jointly, children will be fostered jointly, and people share each other's fortunes and difficulties together. We pursue the delighted, joyful, free and happy life. Life will sublimate towards the heaven, the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, Elysium world and celestial archipelago. No one will oppose, interfere and confront against government. Everyone will consciously stick to the values of life genuine and obey the management of government in daily life. Everyone will be pursuing a Shangri-La lifestyle, civilized and joyful, healthy and abundant. Everyone is busy in pursuing the healthy, well-off and land of idyllic beauty characterized with civilization, elegance and comfort. All the members of Life Genuine are not infestors or idlers but creators and dedicators. All the members of Life Genuine are not the talkative moralizer or fault critics but the constructors of practicing what one preaches and setting oneself an example for others to follow. No one pursues the individual will or personal willingness but the Life Genuine values. Everyone should act according to one's temperament, do according to one's will, fulfill one's duty and take one's needs. The number one home in the world is born due to the big universal adjustment and purpose of purifying Earth. It lays foundation for the new lifestyle after the year of 2013. I wish all the wise men will find the door of this number one home in the world as early as possible and become the member as soon as possible. This is above everything else. The Noah's Ark in New Era. Xiefeng. October 22, 2008. Noah built an ark by revelation. Because people of that time were so corrupted, those out of the ark were drowned by the downpour lasting for 40 days and nights. When Noah built his ark, people around him laughed at him and ignored his advices. They got married, ate and drunk, and did everything just as they pleased. What was the result then? All of them went to hell except Noah's families. The rate of human salvation is less than 1/10,000th. Today Shuefeng got the revelation to build Life Genuine, the Noah's Ark in New Era, in order to raise the rate of salvation to 1 or 200th. But people who are living in China neglect my instruction and advice. They are still persisting in their old ways and doing everything they like. Moreover, they insult me, attack me, betray me, and besmirch me and break my heart and make me upset. So, after the 98 Chanyuan Celestials are listed in the roster of the Noah's Ark of the New Era, the door of Noah's Ark will be closed to China. According to you, I'm an evil and what I'm creating is just a heap of rubbish. I don't understand the so-called truth. You want to put me to death and think my words are completely cheating and lying. Okay. I stay away from China, leaving it to you for struggling. Show me what you can get out of it. See whether you can walk out the 36 mazes. I'm the messenger of the greatest creator, and the incarnation of Jesus the Christ and Buddha Sakyamuni. I came here to gather the ripened crops. I'm here, I'm calling you, but you just don't listen. So okay, let's see. Do not imagine that you will have salvation because you are a Christian. Do not imagine that you could have a chance for the Elysium world because you are capable of spreading Buddhism. Do not imagine that you would go to heaven because you died for jihad, holy war. Do not imagine that you could have a chance to knock up the door of heaven because you have a lot of money. Do not imagine that you could open the door of life because you are a man in power. Do not imagine that you should be permitted to go to heaven because you are such an international celebrity. Do not imagine that you would be a subject of the heaven because you are capable of preaching. Do not imagine that you are qualified to enter into the higher level space of life because you are capable of casting some spells or practicing out-of-body travel. Do not take it for granted that you are such a kind and honest man that you should enjoy the life in the heaven. Not everyone can possibly understand the secrets of space and life. You should often ask yourself, what merits do I have for obtaining the secrets of space and life? The love and cherishment of the greatest creator to human beings have been manifested by Life Genuine. The love of Christ has been manifested by Life Genuine. Buddha's mercy and wisdom has been manifested by Life Genuine. Human situations and the way out have been manifested by Life Genuine. What more do you want? You people are so arrogant, ignorant, and tricky that you regard yourself as somebody. You are so crafty but ignorant, wise but cunning, proud but stupid, knowledgeable but unperceptive, timid but barbarous, industrious but greedy? Do you deserve good life and the life in the heaven? No. Your life should always intertwine agonies, link with worries, rooted with sadness, and accompanied with sufferings. This is exactly the destination you made for yourself. The door of life genuine will be closed to the Chinese culture, and it will be difficult to enter into the life genuine arc after that. There is a good way for salvation in life genuine, a key for the life genuine era, and a map and an instructor which will provide clear instructions as well as the path for the destination. This is a rare opportunity in thousands of years. Once missed, you will have to wait another 1,000 years for it. It is required formally that you should first read the Bible, the Diamond Sutra, the Quran, and Tao Te Ching, study scientific theories and wisdom of the sages and saints, experience other initial approaches and theoretical system, learn, discuss and exchange extensively so as to enter into the life genuine. But now, if you want to be a Chanyuan Celestials, you must strictly follow my guidance, and that is the final. Either you believe or you don't. Hugging your half-belief is harming yourself as well as others. All those who had absorbed the wisdom of Chanyuan and in turn, attacked life genuine and made obstructions for the construction of life genuine, you will end up an inflamed layer and frozen layer for your future life. You will be closely hemmed in on all sides, and it is absolutely impossible for you to escape from this, because you hinder the advance of many people for the heaven, you hinder the early coming days for the life genuine era. When the time comes, when those ghosts go to your house and haunt for the wrongdoings, you are to pay off. There isn't much time to linger, you have to count down. The official flower of life genuine, the corn poppy. Xiefeng. August 20th, 2024. Translation edited by Qinyu. I have decided to designate the corn poppy as the official flower of life genuine for the following reasons. The corn poppy flower originates from the fairyland, the 1,000-year world. Life genuine's second home is modeled after the lifestyle of the 1,000-year world. Therefore, seeing the corn poppy reminds the Chanyuan Celestials of their homeland, evoking memories and the desire to return to their true home. The corn poppy is also known as the fairy herb and the flower of fairy, symbolizing celestial beings. Since all Chanyuan Celestials are celestial beings, it is fitting that the corn poppy is named the official flower of life genuine. The corn poppy's light and ethereal bloom embodies the grace and elegance of celestials. Life genuine is a place where celestial beings are nurtured, so seeing the corn poppy activates the celestial genes within our consciousness. The corn poppy is pure and unsullied, remaining immaculate as it blooms, symbolizing the Chanyuan Celestials. The corn poppy is covered in tiny thorns, effectively protecting it from pests, much like how the Chanyuan Celestials are not easily entangled by worldly emotions and affairs. The corn poppy is delicate and beautiful. While the peony is noble, the rose is passionate, the orchid is proud, and the dahlia is voluptuous, none can compare to the corn poppy's enchanting allure that captivates and mesmerizes, much like the romantic and exuberant nature of the Chanyuan Celestials. The corn poppy is diverse in form and color. Most flowers are monotonous, with uniform colors or similar forms. However, the corn poppy boasts a myriad of styles and shades, and even among tens of thousands of blossoms in the same area, it is nearly impossible to find two flowers identical in color and shape. This reflects the unique spirit of the Chanyuan Celestials, each distinct and extraordinary. The structure of the corn poppy's petals is relatively simple and unadorned, a symbol of purity and innocence, aligning with the qualities of the Chanyuan Celestials. Based on these 8 reasons, the corn poppy will be honored as the official flower of life genuine. Please enjoy the charm and elegance of the corn poppies at Anaheim Lake, the holy pilgrimage site of life genuine. The only solution to humanity's crisis, to the United Nations. Translated by Treasure and edited by Kayer. November 25, 2018. Economic and Social Council. The United Nations. Dear Mr. Alberto Padova. Our environment and climate continue to deteriorate, and neither can be solved by the Kyoto Protocol or the Paris Agreement. The only way for us to save ourselves is to completely change our traditional modes of production and life. If we continue to follow our current production and life modes, then these 8 crises will remain unresolved. Overpopulation. Humanity's greed and lust. Environmental degradation. Climatic deterioration. Loss and waste of resources. Less stable ecological environments. Refugee problems, they will continue to increase. Conflicts between nationalities, religions, cultures, and interest groups. These problems above can only be solved by changing our traditional production and life modes. Everyone yearns for a good life, but how can it be obtained? It will not be by preaching morality, enforcing laws and regulations, following religious precepts, redistributing money and material assistance, constant meetings and discussions of governments or even the UN, warnings and threats, or even by force. It is only by changing our production and life modes that these crises can be solved. What kind of production and life modes should be changed? First of all, we should break up traditional marriages and families because they are the sources of human selfishness, the birthplaces of human crises, and the headstreams of all crime and evil. They are also the curb chains which prevent us all from leading happy, joyous, free, and blessed lives, but rather make people feel anxious, miserable, and fearful. Our mode of production should change from a pattern of possessing to one of sharing, from one of competing predatorily to one of serving each other enthusiastically. The rest of the contents involved are too broad to discuss here, but I can offer much more information based on my experience, if the UN is interested. How do we change nearly everyone's traditional production and life modes? To implement the production and life mode of the new oasis for life created by the Life Genuine. We have been experimenting with and improving upon this mode in mainland China for 9 years, and the results have been very encouraging. More than 200 people have participated in our experiment over the past 10 years, and 150 of them have resided within the new oasis for life for extended periods of time. The remarkable signs of this mode are that exclusive marriages and families have disappeared, supporting our elderly and rearing and educating our children have been managed well, the crime rate has dropped to 0, our members' health has improved greatly, pollution to our local environment has dropped to near 0, and our waste of resources and carbon footprint have been reduced greatly. Our people's happiness indices have risen higher than those in any of the developed countries in the world. In this way, humanity's situation. There are many more advantages over the traditional production and life modes which are difficult to describe here in detail, but of which we have published many written descriptions, photographic proofs, and video displays, and we want the UN to understand them in detail. We can provide a great deal of information as evidence to study and judge. If people do not change their traditional production and life modes completely and adopt these of the new oasis for life as created by Life Genuine, then the prospect of sustained development will remain distant and uncertain. At this juncture between our continuation as a species and our extinction, we are hopeful that the UN will send people to study and demonstrate it as soon as possible and make it a project to be put into practice as has been done by Life Genuine. To bring about the new models of production and life modes sooner rather than later, let people from all over the world visit, study, and experience it. In this way, humanity's situation can change completely and our futures will be blessed and sustainable. It is impossible to change humanity's dangerous predicament at once, and even if the brakes were applied immediately, the inertia of traditional thinking would last for decades, by which time it would be too late. So, the best way to do this would be to build new models of production and life modes which are intuitive, that people can see and experience in person, and that can be copied and replicated everywhere. If the new oasis for life mode were to be repeated by millions of people, then the beautiful ideal that mankind has dreamed of for thousands of years would surely be realized. How do we build a model of this new production and life mode? We would establish a new oasis for life in mainland China, in the United States of America, or in Zimbabwe, Africa, with 300 resident members including people from various religious, cultural, national, and ethnic backgrounds under the auspices of the United Nations and implemented by Life Genuine. We encourage the United Nations to persuade one or more of those three governments to agree to allow us to create a new oasis for life on their territory and also to allow the foreign people involved in its creation to enter and leave freely. The place where the new oasis for life would be created would be chosen and financed by Life Genuine and purchased or leased according to existing local policies. Of course it would help if the UN could help with the funding, because if you were to do so, then it would be quicker and easier to build and the new model could unfold more quickly. It would be effortless for the UN to help us to create this model of the new production and life modes, but the benefits would be endless and would benefit many future generations, so why not put it into practice? It is better to teach people to catch fish than to give them some fish. If the UN turns a blind eye to my proposal and ignores it, then you will have to deal with many types of devastation everywhere for many years to come. We look forward to positive, encouraging news from your organization. Siefeng Life Genuine. The pioneers of the new era, please come close to Life Genuine. Dayform Buddha. There are a lot of people in present society, teachers and messengers, masters, and far-sighted people. They are showing the prospect in front of human beings and are creating instruments for this prospect. These messengers and far-sighted people are pioneers of a new era. Quoted from Seek 4. We have been aware of the fact that a new era is brewing, the old order will disappear. A new human world will come into being on earth. The period of time full of joy, a time when the frequency of life is transforming rapidly to high-frequency wave, a golden time of elegance and talent blooming which is hard to meet in the past thousands of years, and also a period of time for every people to choose his ascending life or descending life. Those people who do not have any notion of the great leap in human awareness remain in the dark about the situation and still follow the old order in their struggling for power and benefits, as well as breeding resentment and evil. Some people with slight wisdom are dazzling at the atmosphere of the new era and unable to absorb so much sudden information. They are not able to make transition in their mind and still cherish those antiquated philosophy in order to obtain a piece of worn boat deck of the old times for surviving the oncoming billows of the new era. The awareness of human beings is experiencing significant changes now. The total amount of knowledge and wisdom accumulated in the past 5,000 years is nothing compared with the amount of knowledge and wisdom over the next 5 years and now, because it is a qualitative leap, a result of impacting energy of new photons in the universe. It is a rapid sublimation of life rather than long and gradual changes. We are pioneers of a new era, shouldering a great and honorable mission with joyful and happy mood. We are open and willing to accept the oncoming new era. We are far-sighted masters and angels of the new era. A completely new era will come into being in our effort. Any souls which sense the atmosphere of the new era and have made good preparation in spirit should break their old concept out of traditional constraints and take part in the construction of the new era with all his strength. We are not the kind of human being in ordinary sense, because we are shouldering a sacred mission. Our future life decides how much we will contribute for the construction of the new era. Please keep in mind, Life Genuine is the core area for leading the new era. Everyone who is willing to devote his talent and spiritual wisdom to the new era should get into Life Genuine. It would be a great pity for those who watch the golden chance slip by out of hesitation. This would be a great era engraved in human beings' memory, and we are standing now on the eve of it. A great era needs great figures and great figures need great thinking. Any conservative or indifferent idea would be mocked and cast aside mercilessly. The new era will break the boundary existing now in different countries, religions, regions, and cultures, and it will bring about a great shock to the traditional idea of family. It will sweep away all of the old concepts, moralities, ideas, and traditional habits, reshaping the world in unparalleled, colorful, quickly changing and spectacular images. It will emerge in an entirely new gesture on the stage of universal life. I hope you could abandon prejudice and turn to Life Genuine. Any kind of thinking aiming at guiding the era by means of individual power is unpractical and will obstruct people from making progress. Except in Life Genuine, nobody is powerful and intelligent enough to deal with so complicated event in future, and there will be no organization in the world have the ability for overall grasp and foresight for the oncoming new era or be capable of unifying all religions and political parties all over the world. I hope everybody getting into life Changyuan become Chanyuan celestial and obtain visa of life. When you devote yourself entirely into this trend of times which is unlike anyone in history before or since, you will find that you are embracing by the love of the greatest creator, brothers, sisters and lovers, and you will live in hourly happiness and excitement which you have never experienced before. The value of your life will take on a completely new meaning and your wisdom and knowledge will enhance rapidly in geometric series. We do not have much time to improve the incomplete consciousness of human beings. What we should do now is to destroy the old order completely and rebuild a paradise of haven on the ruins. Angels, masters, and all far-sighted pioneers of the new era, let's take the wing with non-form thinking, taiji thinking, heart image thinking and move forward for the direction of holographic order thinking. Let's devote our youth and talents to human world as well as the upcoming new era. During those difficult days in future when there will be no light coming from the sun and the moon and the earth will be shrouded in darkness, we will serve as the light of hope for human beings and we will bring the kind, honest and hardworking people into a new era. Today, we are working at the time of the transition from the old to the new. Tomorrow, we will meet in a sunny and prosperous fairyland where all under heaven are of one family and all love each other devotedly. Every effort we make today will pay off sooner or later. Our beautiful and pure mind will be blooming gorgeously in the new future. And then, we will say, we feel no qualms about the times, lifetime, mountains, rivers, and the world, we feel no qualms about the greatest of Creator. Every effort we do it for the new era. It is worthwhile. The practicing of Tao from the perspective of life Changyuan's current status. Dayform Buddha. March 5, 2007. The universe consists of three key elements: energy, consciousness and structure. The essence of the Tao of the greatest creators is nature, love and Tao. The meaning of life is to get rid of suffering and to gain happiness, to seek Tao and to become an immortal. The secrets of becoming an immortal are: be happy, happy, happier, joyful, joyful, more joyful. The secrets of gaining joy and happiness are: three worlds rely on heart, myriad principles rely on consciousness, and changing conditions with mind. Life Changyuan's current status: once the souls of the Chanyuan celestial get into the family, they will feel happy and joyful, they will get along well with each other as if in a harmonious family, they will be very cheerful and happy as in a fairyland. Chanyuan celestials comes from Canada, America, England, France, Zimbabwe, Taiwan and 18 provinces in mainland. Originally, they are not familiar with each other, but once they grow into Chanyuan celestials, they are very close to each other. Like the reunion of the family members, there are endless friendship and love among the celestials. Especially among the female celestials, there aren't any atmospheres of envy, they love each other and praise each other. There is also brotherly love among male celestials, they play with each other, encourage and praise each other. Isn't this the true meaning of self-refinement for Tao? And doesn't this reveal the result of the self-refinement and self-improvement? Can you find any places in the universe with the atmospheres like life Changyuan? Can you? Yes, maybe. But they are essentially different. There aren't taboos and commandments, responsibilities and obligations and administration leaders in life Changyuan. What Chanyuan celestial speaks and acts comes from their heart, and is the outpouring of nature of origin rather than affectation and hypocrisy. Theory should serve the practice. Any good theory will be empty talk if it can't be used to guide the practice. No matter how good the methods of self-refinement and self-improvement are, if they can't make human be satisfactory and happy, they will be fabrication. Scientific theory needs rigorous demonstrations, Buddha Dharma needs evidences. That is to say, the results of our self-refinement need to be tested. After years of self-refinement, reading books on theory, writing many articles and talking, if we still can't feel happy and joyful, that is to say we do not achieve Tao and we are making blind self-refinement and self-improvement. In contrast, whether we have read books about self-refinement theory or not, whether we have taken Zen meditation classes or not, whether we have earned Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu and other celestial beings or not, as long as we are always happy and joyful, we will be successful self-improver and self-refiner. Life Changyuan is a great family with happiness and joyfulness. Many Changyuan celestials can't make contribution to Life Changyuan theory, even can't read the articles about self-refinement, but what they have done are corresponding to the instruction of Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu and sages in history. They are pure and understanding, they dedicate themselves without any selfness and greed, all of these can improve exactly. They are the true self-refiner and true self-improver. The flower is in full bloom, is fragrant, isn't this the embodiment of Tao? Life Changyuan has peaceful atmosphere, everybody is happy and joyful, isn't this the great achievements of self-refinement and self-improvement? There is a kind of misbelief that self-refinement must be solemn, serious and dignified, and can't flirt, snore, sleep, can't do this and can't do that. However, we want to say, self-refinement must be flexible, must adjust measures to local conditions and for right time. 10,000 people have 10,000 kinds of ways, we should change the ways around the unchanging point, not to change the point when changing the ways, and the purpose can't change, but the methods can be changed greatly. China's greatest educator Confucius invented edutainment and teaching students according to their aptitude. I had special interests in educational psychology and teaching methodology when I was in educational college, and had special admiration to Confucius. I used the method of edutainment to my students in my 5 years of teaching career. If we can make students happy and construct good relationships with students, we will achieve a better teaching effect. The purpose of repeating edutainment is to create a happy and joyful atmosphere in Life Changyuan, to purify one's heart, to develop one's thinking and to perfect one's consciousness in unconsciousness and pleasure. Practice proves that this way is effective. Maybe outsiders know nothing about this, but Changyuan celestials will find that they have great difference with laity when they get back to common world to communicate with them, they find their connotation change greatly. In fact, it is the change of non-material structure of one's life. There are a lot of grandmasters in Life Changyuan, such as celestial geeks, Buddha, Bodhisattva and angel. Maybe outsiders think that Life Changyuan just plays tricks, maybe some people think they are playing games, above all are resulted from that they don't understand the theory of educational psychology. It will be proved that the game of today will become the truth of tomorrow, the grandmasters, angels, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the game of today will become real grandmasters, angels, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in future society and space-time. What is self-refinement for Tao? Please take a look at Life Changyuan, there it is. The principles and values behind the disappearance of homes. Shui Feng. November 28, 2023. Translation edited by Qinyu. 1 minute on stage, 10 years of hard work off stage. The annual moment of fame for Nobel Prize winners takes only a few minutes, yet it conceals years, even decades, of quiet research, contemplation, and exploration. It is said that Edison experimented with 1,600 materials before successfully inventing the light bulb. Throughout human history, those who achieved great accomplishments have almost always been repeatedly battered by failures. When we examine the histories of Judaism, Christianity, and Buddhism, we find that in their developmental histories, they suffered numerous destructive setbacks. For instance, Buddhism in Chinese history experienced 5 periods of extinction. Considering recent suppression, it faced at least 6 destructive oppressions. Every spectacular transformation in an individual or a cause is forged through blood, tears, and is brewed from pain. We witnessed the beautiful butterfly dancing in the flowers, yet it emerged from the metamorphosis of a crawling caterpillar. The transformation from a caterpillar to a butterfly is an extremely arduous and painful process. I have long observed the growth process of silkworms and the transformation of silkworm pupae into moths. Each molt and metamorphosis is a test of life and death and a heart-wrenching split. From the perspective of Tai Chi principles, darkness and light coexist, shame and honor are shared, failure and success are twins, pain and joy are intertwined. To enter the light, one must go through darkness; to gain honor, one must face shame. Without experiencing failure, success is nearly impossible; to enjoy joy, one must endure pain. 11 seasons have come and gone, green hills remain, how many sunsets have glowed red. The 15 picturesque paradises we painstakingly built with our sweat and toil have suffered destructive blows. Through 10+ springs and autumns, 10+ instances of wind, frost, and snow, we have committed no wrongdoing. Why then must we endure such devastation? What is the reason behind it? The answer is, this is a consequence of the objective laws of development, a process and price that must be paid. Without experiencing darkness, where would the light come from? Without setbacks, where would tranquility arise? Without paying the price, where would blessings come from? The book Kai Gen Tan says, when heaven is about to inflict misfortune upon people, it first treats them with small blessings. Therefore, one should not rejoice excessively when blessed, but rather consider if they can endure it. When heaven is about to confer blessings upon people, it first admonishes them with slight misfortunes. Hence, don't overly worry when misfortune arrives, but consider if they can be rescued. The Taoism master Laozi teaches us, good fortune lies within misfortune, and misfortune may conceal within good fortune. The proverb, "The old man at the frontier lost his horse," illustrates the uncertainty of fate. After facing numerous setbacks over more than 10 cycles of seasons, who can assert that it is not a blessing in disguise for the home? Slower growth fosters deeper roots, a richer appearance, and longer longevity. Born suddenly, gone suddenly, similarly, slow to grow, long to last. The longer the lifespan of something, the more setbacks and hardships it endures, and its growth proceeds more gradually. The lifespan of the Life-Echanuan era is 1,000 years. This is a lengthy process, making it longer than the existence of any other thing in human history. Thus, according to the principles of the objective laws of development, the setbacks and blows experienced by Life-Echanuan have yet to be enough. We must be psychologically prepared to accept more challenges. However, we explicitly understand that it's due to enduring over a decade of hardships that we've realized the value of Life-Echanuan, acknowledging the remarkable power and vitality of the second home's innovative modes of living and production. If we hadn't faced these trials, it would signify that what we're engaged in and the path we're following align with outdated, lifeless cultures and systems, destined to disappear swiftly, much like horse-drawn carriages when automobiles arrived. So, fellow Chanyuan Celestials, although we are facing difficulties now, the future of Life-Echanuan is undoubtedly bright and glorious. Our wishes will undoubtedly be fulfilled, our aspirations will certainly come true. The problem of providing for the elderly, which has not been solved for 5,000 years, has finally been solved satisfactorily. Xiefeng. November 28, 2020. Most people will become elderly eventually. Do not let them reach the ends of their lives in solitude, loneliness, helplessness, and misery. It is the will of the greatest creator, the ideal of gods, Buddha, celestials, saints, and sages, and also everyone else's expectation. For 5,000 years, this unresolved problem of mankind has finally been satisfactorily resolved today. The traditional concept and method of relying on one's children to provide for their final years should come to an end. Although fond parents are legion, whoever saw a really filial child? In cases of chronic sickness, there are no dutiful children at the bedside. 5,000 years of human history tell us that relying on adult children to provide for their elderly parents is not an ideal solution. Sending elderly people to nursing homes will leave them with withered surroundings every day in the final stage of their lives. This is too cruel and is tantamount to saying, do not die at home, but go and wait for death somewhere else. In recent years, many of the elderly have joined voluntarily to mutually comfort and care for each other. This kind of living in one's old age is a helpless action and is not really an ideal model. So, where is the ideal old age support pattern for mankind and what are the contents of an ideal elderly support system? The most ideal one is in the new oasis for life created by Life-Echanuan. The details are as follows. The elderly people live together with middle-aged people, young people, and children all the time. Every day they can see energetic people around them. They live happily and joyously and forget that they are old, and they reach the end of their lives while laughing, joking, and chatting. The elderly should also live with enthusiasm, passion, vitality, and taste. It should always be made clear to them that death is only the end of life but not the end of life, and that it is only a new starting point for life. After death, there will be a better place to go. It is like abandoning a boat and stepping ashore. In this way, the elderly will never again fear death, but will welcome its arrival happily. Do not let the elderly die from illness, lying helplessly in bed and waiting for death, but let them decide the day of their deaths by themselves when they feel no more worries, satisfied, and their consciousnesses are very clear. This is how I said to end life with the Chanyuan meditation method. Careful, sincere, and enthusiastic middle-aged or young people should always manage their daily lives. People should cook for them, prepare tea and water for them, wash their clothes, bedding, and sheets, assist in bathing them, say good morning to them when the sun rises and good night when it sets, so that they will have no worries about their futures. It has been 11 years since the new oasis for life was born on earth. 11 years of practice have proven that the above-mentioned cannot only be fully realized, but that it already has been. It is hoped that the governments of many countries will agree with our pattern of support for the elderly in the new oasis for life and its infinite merits for them that they should enjoy happily during their old age. I hope that young and middle-aged people will prepare for their old age as soon as possible and contribute their talents and financial resources to the elderly care model of the new oasis for life. Do not wait until you are old, because it will be too late to consider it after the age of 60, because the new oasis for life is not a charity and the blessings that one enjoys must be accumulated by oneself. It is unfair and unjust to rely on others' dedication and sacrifices without personally accumulating one's old age care capital in advance. I hope that everyone in the world will enjoy the elderly care mode benefits of the new oasis for life. May your sunset time be more exciting than your youth or middle age. The problem of providing for the elderly, which has not been solved for 5,000 years, has finally been solved satisfactorily. Xiefeng. November 28, 2020. Most people will become elderly eventually. Do not let them reach the ends of their lives in solitude, loneliness, helplessness, and misery. It is the will of the greatest Creator, the ideal of gods, Buddha, celestials, saints, and sages, and also everyone else's expectation. For 5,000 years, this unresolved problem of mankind has finally been satisfactorily resolved today. The traditional concept and method of relying on one's children to provide for their final years should come to an end. Although fond parents are legion, whoever saw a really filial child? In cases of chronic sickness, there are no dutiful children at the bedside. 5,000 years of human history tell us that relying on adult children to provide for their elderly parents is not an ideal solution. Sending elderly people to nursing homes will leave them with withered surroundings every day in the final stage of their lives. This is too cruel and is tantamount to saying, do not die at home, but go and wait for death somewhere else. In recent years, many of the elderly have joined voluntarily to mutually comfort and care for each other. This kind of living in one's old age is a helpless action and is not really an ideal model. So, where is the ideal old age support pattern for mankind, and what are the contents of an ideal elderly support system? The most ideal one is in the new oasis for life created by Life Chanyuan. The details are as follows. The elderly people live together with middle-aged people, young people, and children all the time. Every day they can see energetic people around them. They live happily and joyously and forget that they are old, and they reach the end of their lives while laughing, joking, and chatting. The elderly should also live with enthusiasm, passion, vitality, and taste. It should always be made clear to them that death is only the end of life but not the end of life, and that it is only a new starting point for life. After death, there will be a better place to go. It is like abandoning a boat and stepping ashore. In this way, the elderly will never again fear death, but will welcome its arrival happily. Do not let the elderly die from illness, lying helplessly in bed and waiting for death, but let them decide the day of their deaths by themselves when they feel no more worries, satisfied, and their consciousnesses are very clear. This is how I said to end life with the Chanyuan meditation method. Careful, sincere, and enthusiastic middle-aged or young people should always manage their daily lives. People should cook for them, prepare tea and water for them, wash their clothes, bedding, and sheets, assist in bathing them, say good morning to them when the sun rises and good night when it sets, so that they will have no worries about their futures. It has been 11 years since the new oasis for life was born on earth. 11 years of practice have proven that the above-mentioned cannot only be fully realized, but that it already has been. It is hoped that the governments of many countries will agree with our pattern of support for the elderly in the new oasis for life and its infinite merits for them that they should enjoy happily during their old age. I hope that young and middle-aged people will prepare for their old age as soon as possible and contribute their talents and financial resources to the elderly care model of the new oasis for life. Do not wait until you are old because it will be too late to consider it after the age of 60 because the new oasis for life is not a charity and the blessings that one enjoys must be accumulated by oneself. It is unfair and unjust to rely on others' dedication and sacrifices without personally accumulating one's old age care capital in advance. I hope that everyone in the world will enjoy the elderly care mode benefits of the new oasis for life. May your sunset time be more exciting than your youth or middle age. The psychological qualities to be Chanyuan celestial. Xiefeng. August 28, 2009. During the Three Kingdoms time, an important defensive place Jiding was lost because of Zhuge Liang's subordinate general Ma Su's disobedience. Sima Yi, who was the general of Wei, led his troop moving towards Xicheng where Zhuge stationed. Comparing with Sima Yi's 150,000 soldiers, Zhuge Liang had only the civil officials and the 2,500 of soldiers. His officers were all frightened at the news of approaching of the enemy. But Zhuge Liang, on the contrary, donned the simple Taoist dress and, attended by a couple of lads, sat down on the wall by one of the towers with his lute before him and a stick of incense burning. His face was with all smiles as he played the lute. This is the famous story of Empty Town Bluff. Zhuge Liang showed outstanding psychological quality in the face of crumbling under attacks. When he and his men hovered between life and death, he could remain serene in control and even amuse himself by playing the lute rhythmically. In the chapter of In a Plum Garden, Cao Cao discusses heroes. Cao Cao pointed his finger first at Liu Bei and then at himself, saying, "The only heroes in the world are you and me," which shocked Liu Bei so great that the spoon and chopsticks rattled to the floor. Although Liu Bei stooped down to recover the fallen articles and said, "What a thunder!" And it was quite close, in order to covering his shock, he still exposed his inadequate psychological quality. On the later chapters, Liu Bei ignored the whole situation of his country and attached too much importance to brotherhood for revenging Guan Yu, which lead to the result of his camps extending 700 li being burnt out by Lu Sun, a general of East Wu. His failure is also caused by his inadequate psychological quality. The outstanding general of East Wu, Zhou Yu, was irate to death at the age of 36, which was also a result of bad psychological quality. In the end, he sighed, "O God, since thou made Zhou Yu, why did thou also create Zhuge Liang?" It is a good illustration of his psychological quality inferior to that of Zhuge Liang. Totally different with Zhou Yu, Sima Yi accepted the skirt given by Zhuge Liang kindly and wore it at once, intending to irritate Zhuge Liang, which also showed Sima Yi's outstanding psychological quality here. What is psychological quality? It is a comprehensive reflection of the temperament, character, thinking, emotion, IQ, tolerance, and faith of a person, and the embodiment of that person's connotation. A man of excellent psychological quality is confident, generous, strong, stable, energetic, optimistic, tolerable, magnanimous and calm, etc., while a man of bad psychological quality is self-abasement, bigoted, testiness, pessimistic, negative, narrow and flurried. Chanyuan celestials are the most civilized, most cultivated, most intelligent, most active and creative, strongest people with spiritual nature in the world. They are common but above the common of the ordinary sense and free-form vulgarity. Therefore, each Chanyuan celestial should have the following psychological qualities. Remain calm in the face of danger and death. Chanyuan celestials hand his, her life to the greatest creator and his, her lifetime to the Tao. They can remain serene and in control in the face of danger and death. Never retreat and feel discouraged in the face of extremely difficulties and hardships. As long as they breathe, as long as there is 1 out of 10,000's hope, they'll not give up, not let any chance of survival slip away. In front of the long journey, they will overcome all obstacles and difficulties with indomitable spirit. They will not step back, even if they would die. They died on the journey for the destination. They will never stop short of goal. Many people around may ridicule, satirize, speak ironically, slander, insult, and attack them or create difficulties. It doesn't matter, they would sit tight in the fishing boat despite the rising wind and waves, and stick to it and never give up. They stand steadfastly on the ground. In front of desperate situation, they will laugh in the wind. When they are struggling alone, we will show their heroic spirit all the same. When it comes to the complicated and bewildered situation, they will keep relaxed, steady, and active instead of changing our opinions or following other people blindly. They'll lighten the magic lamp in their heart for walking out of the path of error and creating an ideal future in extraordinary courage and style. When it comes to the unreasonably troublesome or importunate situation, they will be open and clear, active and flexible, witty and tactful so as to prevent contradictions from intensifying and try to be humor, funny, or to pretend to be foolish for getting rid of drudgery, rather than getting us more deeply entangled in it. In front of frustration, they will never feel inferior, or stop their marching process. They believe that as long as they have firm faith in their heart, as long as they make unremitting endeavor, when God closes a door, somewhere He opens a window, and there will be another sunrise every morning. It is just like some famous Chinese saying, where hills bend, streams wind and the pathway seems to end, past dark willows and flowers in bloom lies another village. Or, when it is dark in the east, it is light in the east, when things are dark in the south, there is still light in the north. They would impress the world someday, and in this I firmly believe. What are listed above are the 8 attainments to be a Chanyuan celestial. As long as they have these attainments, no such a flame mountain that is impassable, no such a difficulty is insurmountable. As long as they have these attainments and integrated personality, they'll have a bright future and they will approach the celestial world smoothly. The realms that Chanyuan celestials have achieved. Xiefeng. May 3, 2020. There were more than 2,000 Chanyuan celestials in 2009. After more than 10 years, only 444 of them remain, so it can be seen how strict the Life Chanyuan elimination mechanism has been. Of these remaining Chanyuan celestials, at least half of them are unqualified but the truly compliant, ripe crops, who can be harvested into the granary of the kingdom of heaven is only slightly more than 100. These are the tops in the world, that is, only very few people can enter heaven, and if you do not believe me, then just check the following and see if you can reach the level that these more than 100 fortunate souls have achieved. They have transcended life and death. Even if the more than 100 Chanyuan celestials die now, they would not hesitate or have any fear, but will face death calmly and joyfully. Death is like changing a car or a boat, and its threat would never make them succumb. Any temptation is powerless to them. You could offer them $100 million to leave Xiefeng, but they would remain indifferent. Money, power, fame, gain, and carnal pleasure can neither touch them nor shake their faith. They are calm in the face of both favor and disgrace. However, you praise or eulogize them would not persuade them to comply. No matter how you insult, derogate, or threaten them, they would not get angry. Owning nothing, possessing neither tangible material things nor intangible non-material things, they have no relatives, no enemies, let alone any lovers, and are in an ethereal and beautiful state of being that is one with Tao. They have no desires, take things as they come, associate with others by following predestined relations, act in accordance with their natures, take advantage of opportunities that arise, and are in a state of inaction. They will neither argue with anyone nor comment on who is right or wrong. They have surpassed the dualistic Taiji thinking and entered into the holographic state of non-form thinking. They never panic or complain about others when adversity or danger is at their door, but remain at ease, natural, and unrestrained. They never complain, compare themselves to or find fault with others, suffer from envy, are always blooming with the nature of Tathagata, and are always full of energy and infinite vitality. There are many more descriptions that can be stated, but how many people can achieve even these 8 states? Many truths taught by Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, and other wise masters, are easy to learn and even to understand, but they are next to impossible to live. If you do not believe me, then just try them yourself. How were we able to reach such high levels of self-improvement and self-cultivation in life Achanuan within only about 10 years? This is very simple to answer. It is that we have grasped the core of self-improvement and self-cultivation, and our precious time has not been wasted on chanting scriptures, casting spells, practicing and sitting in meditation, understanding obscure concepts, reading a vast sea of chicken soup for the soul, preaching and debating, paying attention to and worrying about changes in our current situation or natural changes. Nor has it been wasted on the mundane affairs of human relations in daily life. We did 3 things earnestly. We repaid our debts and severed our secular ties. We accumulated merits and treasures in heaven. We perfected our life's non-material structure by living collectively. Chanyuan celestials are rising to the highest realms of life, and it can be said with pride that these more than 100 Chanyuan celestials have stood at a higher realm of life than any other people throughout all of human history. Only these nearly 100 people have collectively achieved it. This is a miracle, a feat, and more than a myth. The scripture for the transcending of the soul of the deceased in life Achanuan. Xiefeng. Preface. Life is like a dream, and people come and go. Just like the moon waxes and wanes, so does happiness and sorrow in life. The 3 emperors return to the underworld, and the 5 sovereigns meet their ends in the netherworld. Wealth cannot keep us in the human world forever. Even with high virtue and a glorious name, who can stay forever in this human world? All things in the 3 realms and the human world are fleeting. No matter how precious our bodies are, they will eventually be reduced to dust. No matter who dies, we should neither be sad nor happy. It is the way of nature. If a person passes away and their soul is still attached to the living world because of worries or fears, then their soul will stay in the place of death for a long time. In such cases, please recite the scripture for the transcending of the soul of the deceased in life Achanuan, to comfort their soul, show them the way to move on, and help them to leave this world as soon as possible to avoid getting stuck to what they are attached to and missing their way forward. From the day of the deceased's passing, a respected person should recite this scripture aloud 3 times a day, morning, noon, and evening, 9 meters away from the body, clearly and steadily, without any sadness or joy in their voice. It should be like chatting, comforting, and guiding, like a wise teacher pointing the way. This should continue for 3 days. Other matters should be handled according to the life Achanuan funeral system. Below is the scripture for transcending of the soul of the deceased in life Achanuan. Dear XX, celestial name, please listen carefully. Family affairs, national affairs, and world affairs are not worth worrying about anymore. Please do not worry about your loved ones, friends, and neighbors. Do not worry about debts and entanglements. Your children and grandchildren will have their own blessings, so please be at ease. Tao arranges their birth and growth and has mercy on them. Please do not be entangled in your heart. Everything is arranged by Tao, and everything has its own destiny. Life and death, good and bad fortune, are predetermined by Tao. Please do not be attached to this world and leave promptly. Please do not hesitate and go on your way. The journey to the celestial island is the right path to take. Dear XX, please listen carefully. Life is like a dream. Even emperors and presidents cannot escape death. Billionaires are like floating weeds. Gods and Buddhas leave behind no trace of themselves in this world. The sages and saints of the past are buried in the wilderness. Kings and noblemen of all ages have left behind no trace of themselves. how can ordinary people expect to live forever without aging or death? Spring goes and autumn comes, autumn goes and winter comes. Flowers bloom and wither, and plants will wither and die. No flower can bloom for 100 days, and no person can live for 1,000 years. White bones are buried in deserted tombs that extend for thousands of miles. All of the achievements and failures of the past are like clouds. Happiness and sorrow, meeting and parting, the moon waxes and wanes, these things have never been constant throughout history. Hope you have no attachments and leave promptly. Dear XX, please listen carefully. The world is like a changing sea, and human feelings are like spring winds and autumn rains. Everyone in this world is busy pursuing fame and fortune. Even with solemn pledges of love, we will eventually leave this world, and only the scenes from when we met remain. There is no feast that does not end, and there is hardly a relationship that lasts forever. People on the terrace with their homesickness leave in a hurry, and crowds swarm on the road to the netherworld. It is difficult to find devoted friends in life. Only hatred and shame are left. The late spring is bleak like the end of autumn. The cry of the fish hawks is like people's endless grief. Don't be sad, don't worry, the road ahead is long, so set out on your journey promptly. Dear XX, listen carefully. All intentional dharma are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, dew, and lightning, thus, should you meditate upon them. Everything with form is unreal. If all forms are seen as unreal, then you will perceive Tathagata, the state of Buddha. Don't linger on the past, don't be attached to illusions, and don't be obsessed with beauty and palaces. All forms, feelings, thoughts, behaviors, and cognitions are empty, and all tangible things are unreal. Don't seek the bright light nor run toward the darkness. When encountering evil spirits on the road, do not fear them. If someone calls out to you from behind, don't look back. Fly as high as you can and run as far as you can. When you hear the faint sound of Zen, you will know that you will have returned home. Dear XX, listen carefully. The 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the celestial islands continent of the Elysium wood are the paradises that you have been longing for. No matter where your soul goes, as long as your faith is pure, you will receive the blessings of the greatest Creator, and the support of the gods and Buddhas. Remember the 8 without realm and go forth with peace of mind. We will meet again in the celestial islands continent. Go, go, go. Go to the other shore with transcending wisdom, go to the realm of freedom, go to attain enlightenment soon, just go. May the greatest Creator protect you. May the gods and Buddhas bless you. May all spirits have mercy on you. On behalf of all the Chanyuan celestials, I bid you farewell on your journey. The road ahead is long, so take care. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Month XX, date XX, year XXXX. The Song of the Universe, on Life a Chanyuan Era, 1. Dayform Celestial. December 6, 2006. There is only one sun shining on the earth, only one moon touching the earth, and only one God for the human beings, the greatest Creator. We are the children of the greatest Creator regardless of our races. We are on the same spaceship, so our destiny is bounded up closely. We are all related to each other. The storm of Cape of Good Hope has close connection with the waving of the butterfly in Alaska. The earthquake beyond thousands of miles correlates to the test in laboratory. A sneeze of an American president can result in the uproar of the global media. The bird flu can result in panic throughout the world. It is a historical necessity for human beings to enter into life a Chanyuan. The age of divisions of the country won't exist for a long time. It is a symbol of ignorance to cut the planet into pieces, and ruling separately. The desire for peace is a common aspiration for all human beings. They wish to live together harmoniously regardless of race, ethnic, region and polity. They wish there will be no oppression, exploitation, force and discrimination. they wish human beings can undertake the difficulties, enjoy the happiness, and design the future together. Human beings' fate is controlled by the greatest creator. The only way to ensure the sustained happy life is to revere the greatest creator and believe in the greatest creator. The nature including the evolution of human all are in the same scientific procedure of Tao. The only way to avoid unexpected disaster and calamity and to enjoy the long-term peace and good life as well as to celebrate the world as one is to follow Tao. The appearance, application and popularization of network are prelude to the coming of the Life-Genuine era. A new era that Jesus Christ, Buddha, Sakyamuni, Prophet Muhammad, Celestial Lao Tzu looks forward to is coming. It is our mission to fulfill the ideal of the ancient saints and sages in history. It will be a wonderful era without nation, political party, religion and family. Everybody has work to do, house to live and food to eat, everybody is cultivated, everybody follows the principle of Tao. The new era is a melt pot of nationality and culture, no one pockets anything found on the road, doors unnecessarily to be shut in the evening for no thieves drop in. All the people will join into one family and one government, all governors are saints and sages, the old and the children are cared by the society, the death of the old and the education of the young are undertaken by the society, the disease and disaster are resolved by the society. In addition, in age of new era, the romantic life is free and open all over the world, black can love white and yellow, white can love black and yellow, yellow can also love white and black. War and famine will disappear, people no longer damage and misuse nature, no longer suffer the hurt and pain made by men. It is pathetic for those who just live for himself, it is miserable to those who are only busy for their own family in their lifetime, it is selfish and superficial for those who live for their own nation, political party and religion, it is short-sighted and unworthy of praising for those who live for their own country. Only those who live for the happiness and pleasure of all human beings in the planet are saints and sages and worth to be praised. Everybody, especially educated men, should understand these principles, offer services to humankind, dedicate your talent and knowledge to the children of the greatest creator and to those who are suffering from physical, mentally and psychological selflessly, relieve human beings from misfortune. All people with power, wealth, education, fame and self-refinement should show mercy, bring light to the world as possible as they can, bring hope, consolation, courage and power to those who are suffering in physical, mental and spiritual, and make the world better. The merits you have done will be recorded in your non-material structure of life. The greatest creator is fair, Tao will reward what you have done ultimately, heaven's door will open to you someday. If we are suffering from physical, mental and spiritual illness or burden and we are kind, hardworking, honest, and credible, our panics and misfortunes are resulted from our imperfect soul. We are still far from perfect. We shouldn't desire too much, we shouldn't make meaningless comparisons with others. It is good to be alive. We should be grateful no matter what a simple or hard life we are leading, we should think more about giving, less about claiming, more smiles on face and less unnecessary trouble to our relatives and friends. Life-Genuine is the homeland of spirit and soul where you can gain respect and see the hope of human life and the life in the future. More and more talent and wisdom will gather in the Life-Genuine to serve people. Many hands make light work, thousand stream merge into a river, a smile, a praising word, a good deed, any conveniences you provide are merits which we will see, remember and feel grateful. We wish the greatest creator bless you, we wish you healthy, successful, and happy. All ways will be one and all the universe will sing together. This is the major trend of social development. Everything is accelerating, so we should quicken our step. The first thing we should do is to change our consciousness. Nobody put good wine in an old leather bag. The old consciousness can't adapt the new era. It is useless to cry over spilt milk. God help those who help themselves. If you want to get rid of the pain and pace with the new era, the only way is to arm yourself with values of Life-Genuine and to get into Life-Genuine as soon as possible. The burden of the greatest creator is light and easy. You just need to deepen your understanding,